Hi, chat. Hello. Clyde's having a panic attack of some sort, I think, because 2.0 is watching Severance, and I guess the elevators spook him really bad. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched like a couple minutes of that show. It's kind of weird. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. Yes, you're gonna get Clyde, and as soon as I set him down, he's gonna like start when he panics, he puts his paws up, and he just like it's like help me with both hands. I can't do it though, because he'll be like, I'll drop him. Anyways, guys, we are gonna get started tonight. It's a Monday show. This is kind of like it's important. It's important though. Where do we go from here? I mean, Charlie Kirk, hasn't even been a full week yet. And what do we do from here? Yeah, I told you before, guys, this is time for building. Your communities, your friends, your family, yourself, your faith. Do I think that we're past the point of no return? I can't think that. I have faith. I have hope. I have optimism. I can't just assume that at this point. And like I told you, when it happens, it'll happen. And I hope to be proven right and say neener, guys. We're able to talk some sense into people. Because that's where we are. I think that's where we have to be. But if you want to prepare. Steel your spine, steel your faith. It's never a bad choice. When people say there's parallels, like, I don't think so. We'll talk with our guest about that. And guys, this is our guest we've had on before. He is another person who thought going to law school was a great idea in his life. But he's actually a pretty good attorney. He's been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. Ryan Mullally, you guys have seen him before on here. He actually has a channel. He has a channel at Ryan C. Mullally, and it's under. I just had it all up here, and I messed it all up. So I want to do that for him before he comes on, because he shouldn't have to shill himself first getting out here. It's Natural Law with Ryan Mullally, guys. If you guys want to show him some love on there, just find him here. You guys could find him here. This is Ryan. He talks to people you guys like. He hangs out. Great friend of Rob Knorr, also friend of the show, Rob Knorr. Took Pisco, it just broke him in half, and then also went on with Destiny. He. Oh, hold on one second. Sorry, I thought 2.0 needed me. No, great stuff, guys, and like cooking. That's like, look, it's real cooking. Anyways, guys, give him a like. I think you'll appreciate him. But anyways, it is Ryan Mullally. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for the plug. Really appreciate it.
Of course,
and yeah, it's a nascent game. I'm just kind of like the YouTube thing just started. So I'm very new to this and appreciate the love and support. It really means a lot to me.
Somebody said I broke out the suspenders for this. Yeah, well, it's just been a little busy. Got something and spent half the evening putting it back together. So I didn't have time to change.
Hey, he's looking classy.
Yeah, try to be.
It's funny that you showed, the videos, and one of the things that was on there, because you showed Rob and you showed Destiny, and this was a conversation I had with Destiny almost like a month ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I titled it "In Which Destiny Proposes Civil War 2.0." Mm-hmm. So and part of the reason I've been on the fucking rampage about the way he's been talking about Charlie Kirk's death is because I saw this shit coming. Because when I asked him, I went on this stream because he posted, this was a month ago, so it's way before Charlie Kirk died, and he said he posted this huge thread. The next time the Dems win, they need to investigate everyone, the whole Trump family, everyone in the administration, everybody. Yeah. And I said, Destiny unironically making the argument for sweeping pardons because it's a vendetta cycle. If you're going to prosecute everyone, then obviously they're going to pardon everyone. So what you're asking for is just on its face stupid.
And it's kind of like we saw that already. It started off with a bunch of sweeping pardons.
Exactly, right?
2024. Yeah.
And I asked him in that conversation, I said, like, okay, so what's your prescription? If you're saying that you just, like, in your mind, they're ramping up, the right's ramping up, so you just need to ramp up, and they're going to ramp up, and then you're going to ramp up more. What are you proposing? What's the end game? And he said civil war. And he's still on that arc right now. Like Charlie Kirk was shot in front of us, and the man can't take a few seconds on Piers Morgan to say, it didn't change my politics. I'm still fighting the good fight, but a man died, and I can respect that his grieving widow. Like, I mean, like, how little does that take? It takes fucking nothing. It's like the most basic humanity. And
yeah, well, I mean, I have my own theories on that, and I'm going to leave those alone because that's not this type of discussion about him. But as far as things go, you know, there's somebody out there. I don't know if you are familiar with Josh Moon. He's the guy who runs Kiwi Farms. He points out that this timeline is the only timeline Destiny is not Steve from Omaha. Like, he may not like, you know, this is the only timeline where he's making millions of dollars and gets to sit around and play Factorium or whatever it is and, you know, be awesome and people actually know and care what he has to say. So this idea of him wanting civil war, I'm like, as I've tried to explain to people, and I've shown this picture a million times, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. Hold on. I have to do this with a handful of dog. This is a picture I try to tell people all the time. Everybody thinks they want, you know, they want to get down. And it's like, this picture right here is what get down means. This is from the Balkans. Everybody thinks they're going to be the dudes walking around with guns. There's a very good likelihood you're going to be one of those guys laying on the ground with a hole in your face. And everybody thinks they're going to be the warlord of the neighborhood. Now, I don't know why Destiny. I think, you know, part of it was he started being edgy, but I think his other problems have driven him to nihilism or whatever. But, you know, especially like of all the people screaming for, you know, blood, it's as cringe as Jeremy from The Quartering. I want blood. It's like, bro, you sell coffee. And Destiny,
relax
like, dude,
a little bit.
Yeah, dude, just you're on Wikipedia all the time. Like, you know, like if you're gonna at least Fed post, do like what I do and go on Locals and we watch how to manufacture PETN and make blasting caps and how you wire up a cell phone to carry an electrical current. That way, when you call it, it turns on and passes the current. You know, like at least be an edgy boy if you're gonna do like that's edgy boy. But like what he's doing is just it's so boring. It's so yes, Charlie Kirk special edition coffee.
Yeah, it's boring, but it's also like you know the X account Rothmus.
Yes.
Yeah, big account. I think it's like a 700,000 sub account or something, follower account.
Yeah.
And it really struck me the other day. He took a second out of his day to repost something that Cenk Uygur said and shout him out and be like, look, I disagree with everything this dude thinks politically. When it comes time to like run votes, I'm going to oppose everything this dude wants. But he took the time out of his day to say, you know, Charlie Kirk was a father and he had kids and he was taken from us and that this sort of thing is terrible. And he said it in a heartfelt way and it struck a chord, right? And that's, if there's ever an off-ramp in a situation like that, it's moments like that, right? Where you're fired up, you're saying, I want blood, I'm so pissed off, I can't fucking see straight. And then someone reminds you that it's an American on the other side of the aisle. You know, it's your countryman, it's your brother. You disagree with them, you're fighting right now, but it's your brother. And that's why those moments of shared humanity are so important. It's to remind the other side that, you know, we're fighting, but we're on the same team. At least we hope we are. And it just boggles my mind that people don't see the utility of doing that, especially when it's the other side's guy that got killed. You know what I mean? Like it's like Charlie Kirk was a lion on the right. The idea that people on the left can't be bothered, and I'm really talking about Destiny now, just to like have a shred of humanity. It's depressing. But I still think there's off ramps. I think there's hope.
I mean, I think there are too, but I kind of explain to people like once it happens though, and that's the problem. Once this goes, it's kind of like you know, the whole Harry Reid thing screwing with the Supreme Court. It's screwing with the votes, you know, and after a while, guess what happened? The Republicans started running through. They ran 3 justices right through with Trump's first administration. It's like, once you open this box on a topic, it doesn't ever close. And
yeah, and I think people get caught up in the semantics, and I think that's almost like a trap, right? Like, who called who a fascist? It's infuriating, but it's a trap. What really it's about is that the Democrats, since Trump got elected the first time, have taken the position that he can't be right about anything.
Yes.
Anything.
The orange man always has to be wrong.
He's always has to be wrong. And that's pathological, right? And you saw that with Biden's border policy, where like the only logical explanation that really ever resonated with me for why Biden just opened up the border is that he wanted to do the opposite of what Trump did. Like he was really just, he was almost spiteful, right? Like and maybe they think it's good politics or whatever, but one pathway to healing, which I saw John Fetterman do this today, which I thought was great. John Fetterman came out and just kind of like admitted Trump's right about some stuff. Like it would be useful to let ICE, like he was elected on immigration, letting ICE actually enforce immigration law instead of having protests and making it into the sort of thing where the National Guard has to get called in would be fine. Like that's
driving murder down to zero for a month in your city would be really good.
Yeah, you don't have to be opposed to it just because Trump does it. And by the way, if you lean that direction, I imagine with your stream, it's probably not much of your audience, but if you lean that direction and you want to oppose Trump, you have so much more credibility if you come across as reasonable. Like if your point is, oh my goodness, I hear you about the border, I hear you about immigration, but I want to make sure due process is followed. I want to make sure the First Amendment is followed. That's a reasonable take. But if your take is, no, fuck you, ICE doesn't come in my city for any reason, well, who's advocating for civil war?
Yeah. No, and I think it's, as he said, he's not a fascist, he's not a Nazi, he's not an autocrat. Like, let's have some perspective on what actually is going on. And, I've said this before. If Trump had cured cancer, you would see them coming out with hit pieces about all the poor unemployed oncology nurses and all the poor cancer doctors now don't have a job no more because Trump cured cancer and it's so bad and there's nothing he could do. And I'd like to think that a lot, like some of the people out there like Cenk and whatnot are doing this because they really realize it. But I think the biggest thing for a lot of them is they're like, oh shit, it's not just politicians now, it's me. And obviously me and you are not on that same level, but it's the same, we're tadpoles and they're the whales running around, but like, it's the same thing. Like eventually I could be in that position. And I think they're all realizing now, like, oh, wow, our words are coming home and people are listening to us. And
go ahead. Sorry.
And it's because I kept on saying this and, like I gave Pisco loads of shit about this. I kept on saying it. If you really thought a bunch of Nazis and fascists were in charge, you'd be like, there's only one way out at that point. Because if we're really Nazis and fascists, guess what's going to happen in 2028? You're not getting an election. And if you really thought that was happening, and you really thought they were like, little Gestapo squads and whatnot, if you really thought they were like that, you'd be loading up magazines and getting ready with your friends. That's the only way. Like the Nazis were not, Treblinka was not liberated by tweets. The Americans did not cross the Rhine River, just for the lulz. Like there was a big, like, these are real things. And I think it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. And I part of me thinks, and I know we chatted about this a little bit off stream, but there are certain ideas that kind of trickle down into the left. And I don't think it comes from the politicians. I think it really comes from academia and kind of gets disseminated down. And I did a stream on this last night. I don't even think it's like the leading academics. If you look at the really smart academics who are coming up with the really great ideas, their stuff actually isn't the crazy stuff. What happens is it gets trickled down to like third and fourth and fifth tier academics who can't make a career except by bastardizing the ideas of others. And they just kind of push it out like a factory. And these kind of low level academics push these ideas into society the main thrust of which is that America is uniquely evil, that America is uniquely bad, that we have no heroes, our founding fathers are monsters, everything we do is evil, every culture is better than ours. We are the original sin. We are terrible. And if you tear down all the ties that bind between people, and they can't be proud of their heritage, they can't be proud of their country, they can't be proud of their history, then they can't be proud of their religion. The only thing that's left is their politics. That's the only thing that's left. So then there's no ties that bind. I read this beautiful speech by Justice Scalia years and years ago, where he said he was at an Italian-American conference, and there was a guy up there who's a big lib, and he said, I forgot the guy's name, but he said, this guy's here, and I disagree with him about everything. There's nothing I agree with this guy on, but he's Italian and he's a good paisan, so I know he's a good guy. And that's what it is, right? Like, you understand we disagree, but we have a link beyond our differences. And if you tear the link down, well, what's left?
Yeah. Well, and actually, hold on here, because I got a book that's a great example of that. Even though this guy's a big time glowy, George Freeman he used to run Stratfor. It's called Flashpoints, and he breaks down like this is the reason why the European Union doesn't work. They have no common, their history is they all hate each other. They've all hated each other since the Romans, and it's all strife and war for them. They have no common tie that binds, and that's the reason why the moment something gets tough, they all start fighting with each other, and they don't ever when things get tough, they're never working together. And I think it's a great, obviously they're not, killing. For now, they're not killing each other, but give it time. They usually do every couple hundred years. No, I agree. There's no, the average person's going to look at Destiny. It's like, I don't have commonality with that guy. And the problem is when you see people, other than like John Fetterman today, who would I have commonality with? And I think one of a good example of this is Crystal Ball. When this came up and she's like, she said, I demand that everyone mourn in state approved fashion. She's all upset about this. And it's like, that's not what people are getting at here. This wasn't a state approved fashion. This is what people wanted this. This is popular. People felt bad. A lot of people feel bad for Charlie Kirk. This is a guy who got murdered just simply for sitting there talking to people.
Yeah, it's gross. I mean, I think that it's very hard in the abstract. People are like, oh, well, people got canceled in 2020 and now people are getting canceled now. Isn't that the same thing? And I don't actually think it is.
I don't think so either.
And the reason it's not is, for those of you who were with me last night, I watched a great debate with Jonathan Haidt last night and reacted to it. And Jonathan Haidt makes this great point where an organization's speech norms are not about the law. It's not about the First Amendment. It's about the purpose of the organization, right? So if you're a newspaper and you have a journalist who's constantly spouting lies on social media, you probably should fire them because they reduce your credibility, and your purpose is to have credibility, right? That's not like a free speech issue. That's an organizational purpose issue. What is the organizational purpose of the National Football League? It's to bring people together on Sunday and watch the game and feel good about America, right? That's what it's for. That's what they're selling. And if you're selling that, then it makes a lot of sense that you honor Charlie Kirk. And it's news that 4 teams didn't. It's not a demand. It's these organizations realizing what their consumers want.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's the people who watch the NFL are people who are more likely to find Charlie Kirk, sympathetic. But that should be for Crystal. That's the idea of oh my God, there's a fuckload of people that actually like this guy, and it wasn't just random people on the internet like me. And I don't think she fully understands that a lot of them aren't real. Well, I don't know if they're being ignorant or it just kind of just blew by them that they're not willing to realize that.
Yeah, he meant a lot to a lot of people. And the thing that I think is lost sometimes on people who are a little further removed from the right is that not everyone agreed with him on everything. There's a lot of people who were further right to him on a lot of issues. And
I
a lot
didn't
of
like
people,
him on a lot of things.
yeah. And a lot of people were like, a lot of people disagree with him on all kinds of stuff. That doesn't mean that they weren't fond of him or the way he conducted himself or the way that he generally, and I don't know all his content, but like every time I saw him, he seemed to be the kind of guy who was actually trying to get into a debate about the ideas, even if he was debating idiot college students, and push the dialogue forward. And yes, of course, he was a partisan. But I think that people, I don't know, on the left, I think they view him as if he was some kind of fringe figure rather than a guy who is filling up, filling up a college with all the people there to watch him.
Yeah. Talk. Yeah. No, and it's, and the thing is, especially, I didn't like Charlie Kirk for the longest time because I thought he was very milquetoast. And as 2024 came around, he got a lot more. I wouldn't say a lot more considering where he was, but it was more right. And I was like, okay, I kind of like this Charlie Kirk, but I'd watched, things of his faith here and there, and that, and on the right, especially, that's a big thing for people. Charlie Kirk's faith was impressive. The way his faith in God and the way he, and this is something I don't think people understand on the left. And the amount of people I know and that I've seen and that have talked about going to church this weekend, they hadn't been, 15, 20 years, or just getting a Bible, or just sitting here on their computer, type up, just start, like, give me a spot in the Bible to read and just reading through the Bible here and there. That was the underlying thing that really connected a lot of people. And that's something I don't think the left can appreciate, because for them, they just, they have dogma, but it's, men, Israel's a bad. And if you don't support trans genocide, like that's kind of that's their religious dogma right this second. They don't have an underlying dogma. And I don't think people realize, like, that was one of the things Charlie Kirk was, like, universally appreciated for.
I think that's right. And I think that we're revealing in part, I like to say atheism is only one generation away from nihilism, because I know a lot of atheists who are spectacularly moral, wonderful people, live great lives, but it's, you don't have to be faithful to be a good person, but when you get multiple generations away from an objective moral system, you start getting a replication error. You start seeing things fraying a little bit.
Yes.
I thought Ben Shapiro was great about this when he was on Bill Maher recently, where he's like, we agree on 87.5% of moral issues, Bill, even though you're an atheist, because we were raised in a Christian culture and we inherited a common sense of morality. And I do think there's some, not all, I don't want to be painted with a broad brush, but in some corners of the left, what you're seeing are true nihilists. Like they are actually moral relativists. They don't believe in anything that Charlie believed in. And I know this because I've been asking people ever since the Tim Kaine thing, where Tim Kaine disparaged the Declaration of Independence. I'll just read them the quote from the Declaration and say, well, do you believe that that people were endowed by their creator with unalienable rights, and that the purpose of the government is to protect those rights? And they'll say, of course not. And it's like, well, that's what the Declaration of Independence says the core American belief is. It was written down. It's not optional. Like, you don't have to believe
that's like going to church and saying, I don't believe, that Jesus is just some bro. It's like, no, he's kind of important. He's kind of important to the story.
It's a big deal. Yeah. And I'm not saying you have to be in church every Sunday. I mean, there were a bunch of deists at the convention too. Yeah, they weren't all Christian, but you have to believe the proposition.
Yes.
You don't get to free ride.
It's the fundamental point. We have the inalienable rights, and government is meant to protect those rights. That's like walking into church and saying, well, I don't believe in Jesus. Like, well, you can't be a Christian then. It doesn't work.
It's even worse because all the rights that they enjoy, like when they're sitting there criticizing my belief in natural rights. They're doing so because they have a government that protects their natural right to free speech.
Yes.
So they're living in the third floor of this fucking glass house, and they're throwing stones at the base. And I'm sitting there be like, why are you doing that? You live in the glass house. You have to actually protect these things because you benefit from them and you live in the society that's based on them. You don't get to tear down the foundation.
No, and they think they can because they're like, well, that's at the foundation. I'm on the third floor. The foundation's all the way down there. And they, it's
And surely my ideology will rise from the ashes once I burn it all down. Surely.
Yes. It's the right one.
It's awful.
Yeah, no. You'd mentioned something though. This isn't like the cancel culture of before, and it's like it very much isn't because. The cancel culture before, okay, somebody may have used the N-word 15 years ago when they were in high school. Or, Karen, the mom, says, I don't want boys changing in the locker room with my daughter. Is a lot different than, this guy got fucking shot. Suffer. Like, there's a vast difference in what society, people don't like, nobody likes cheering about dead people like that. That's pretty ghoulish.
It's pretty bad. And if you think about the purpose of an organization, again, that's why I brought that up earlier.
Exactly, yeah.
Is one of the things that happened in 2020 is that the left tried to convince every company that their purpose was to change the world. So then they started saying, oh, we should cancel people because our purpose is to change the world. But that's not actually the purpose of what companies are. The purpose of a company is to provide good products and services and make money. That's the purpose of a company. And when you add all this social justice stuff in it, you put your thumb on the scale, you try to twist it up. But even with that purpose, the purpose is to have a good customer relation, to make money. Being the kind of place that is ghoulish about the assassination of a young father, that's bad for business. Like, you should cancel people who are making your business look that bad, right? Like, it's not, this is apples and hand grenades. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah, no, it's, and I don't know how you feel about Stone Toss, but there's like a Stone Toss or Simpsons for everything. It's like, how is this going to help us sell burgers? Like, sell burgers? How's that work?
I love the last panel is what gets me. Burgers? Yeah. No, this is I always argue with Pisco about this whenever I talk to him because he on the left, there's this kind of belief that everything should be about everything. Like every institution should be about the messaging. Everything should be about the revolution. It's this kind of all-consuming vision. And I think the right is just a little bit more individualistic and is a lot more willing to be like, no, I like my faith to be my faith and my family to be my family and my company to be where I work. And, I'm okay with these things all being part of society and contributing to society, but I don't have to dominate and control every aspect of them in order for that to be okay. Like, but it's fine.
That's the nature of the revolutionary idea, though. Everything, everything for the state within the state. I mean, they have to, though. You can't, existing outside the state is a threat to the state. So that's, sorry. That's their issue, though. They have to. The idea of the revolution has to consume it all. If there's anything outside of it, it doesn't work then for them.
Well, and I think that's why, and this is why I worry about the fact that so much of the left can't just admit that Trump was right about something. I'm not saying everything. Like, pick an issue, pick one thing. Just say, like, Trump was right about this. I think we can compromise on that. I will fight him to the death on everything else. But that, like, just admit that something that Trump, and FYI, the more than half the country that voted for him, was right about something. And I think that's important. Like, I can't think of a president who wasn't right about something. It's just a crazy position to take.
Yeah, and we're to the point now with all the lawfare. Like, everything he does is being attacked. And it's taking these, three Biden judges saying like, no, you can't stop Planned Parenthood from not being funded. You may not like this, but this is not how you like. We're seeing this over and over and over and over and over again where, no, you don't go here. This is a court of claims issue, and this is where, I just, as a lawyer, these attorneys aren't just brand new, like first year associates. These are the high powered guns coming in, and they're intentionally just filing dog shit. And they know that it's wrong, and they know that it's bad. And for the amount of people think like John Eastman and Sidney Powell were just shitbags for what they did, it's like we're seeing this on like an everyday scale now for the past 9.5 months of just bombing it out.
Well, and I think you're also seeing a systematic.
Sorry, I there a little too.
No, and I want to talk about that case because that was really interesting. But I think what you're seeing is a systematic, it's an organized resistance to certain concepts, right? Yeah. Like when people say, like, there seems to be some organized resistance to the concept of immigration reform, right? It's easy to get hyperbolic and tinfoil hatty about it, but if you just look at the facts and you're kind of like dispassionate about it, well, Obama had the highest deportation numbers you could imagine. I mean, guy was cooking. How did he accomplish that? There was something called the Secure Communities Program. The Secure Communities Program would, whenever a local police force would arrest somebody, they'd run their immigration status. And if they were a violent criminal and they were not a citizen and they were not legally here, they would report them to ICE and they would be deported, right? Now, this system did not require ICE raids because local governments were cooperating. Who killed that program? The sanctuary city people, because they didn't want the cooperation. They wanted the cooperation to end. And now what are those same people saying? They're saying it's terrible that ICE isn't focusing only on the violent criminals and are doing raids instead. But it's like, well, we had a program that focused on the violent criminals and you abolished it. You abolished it. You went to court and you abolished it. And now you're complaining that the alternative you don't like either. But what you're really saying is we just shouldn't enforce immigration at all.
Well, and that's kind of where when I was on Pisco, I was trying to be pretty like chill about things because I even admitted there's a lot of shit I don't like Trump was doing. There's a lot of stuff I don't like he's doing. This idea of using the 4 factors and you can still go after people. It's like, okay, I guess in LA it does make sense, but like if they expand that to everywhere else, I got a big problem. But it makes sense in LA. But the idea that Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was supposed to have the hearing, he never got the hearing, and all they had to do is just drag his ass back in front of some guy like me who's an attorney who's got some immigration law experience, who the INS hires to be an immigration judge, and I sit there and go, okay, yeah, I guess he goes back to El Salvador. Stamp the paper and back he goes. That's all they have to do. That's all they had to do. I want him to do it. I want him to take care of it. And yeah, we'll give him his due process and then get him out because I still think he leaves at the end of the day. But this now has turned into this gummed up thing where there's habeas petitions now and it's not being heard until like October. And it's just like, this has turned it into a disaster. And all he had to do was just give the guy his hearing, get rid of him, and that would have been it.
But also notice what sane disagreement sounds like. Yeah. Like I have no shortage of criticisms about Trump. Like, and I'm a big believer that reforming our education system and particularly the universities, but also K-12 is a huge part of how we cure what ails us. But that doesn't mean that everything Trump does to rein in the universities is legal or correct. Like you can be pointed in the right direction and still do something bad. And when you do something bad, I'm going to criticize you. But this isn't. Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, your keyboard was. No, they just appreciate your keyboard.
I'll restrain myself. I've got a keyboard with fucking symbols underneath every letter. I gotta get one of those quiet bad boys. That was really funny. But yeah, but that's how I can tell that you're a sane person, right? Because you agree with some stuff, you disagree with other stuff, and you have reasons for your disagreement. If your take on every issue is I love Trump or fuck Trump, then you're not actually engaging with the issues. You're spouting an ideology at me. And the left seems to be doing only that. There's very few voices that are striking a sane line, which is why I wanted to shout out Fetterman, because I saw that post today and I was like, good for you. That's that's exactly the right approach.
Oh yeah, no, and I think it was critical, and I think there's an example of there's this guy. He God, what's his name? He's some dude who's like one of these bigger immigration attorneys that's here on Twitter, and he's got the, you know what I'm talking about, probably, right? It's Aaron something or another.
Oh my God, I'm not sure, but the face reminds me. But
yeah, that's what I mean. I could do the soy face, and you're like, I know who you're talking about. Let me see here. And hold on. Yeah, here you go. This guy.
Your chat's making me want to type even louder.
Make them suffer. They're fine. They'll survive. It's this guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like when I see him doing this shit, I'm like, just say you don't want any fucking immigration laws. Like, I can work with that. It's like when people talk about what kind of guns I can. Just tell me you don't want me to own any guns. At least we'll be honest with ourselves at that point. Like, just tell me where you're at. Like, don't ask me if I think I can own a nuclear weapon. Tell me what's your bottom line, and then I can tell you, because I know we're not going to meet anyway. Let's just start there. But yet this whole, it's.
Hold on. Let me look something up real quick.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh,
there we go. You like that, chat? Anyway,
they deserve it.
But no, it's true. Just like be honest about it. Tell me where I stand with you, and also speak with some principles and speak with your chest. Oh yeah, this is the post.
Yeah, it's and it's funny. It's the guy who's had a gajillion freaking strokes and walks around with a Carhartt hoodie on is like the man of common sense.
Never going to change my party, but clearly we've lost the argument, and right now I think it's entirely appropriate to really be honest and just figure out why exactly have we effectively lost 2 out of the last 3 cycles, and a lot of the things we've really kind of really lost our connection with American voters in ways. And I think we can't just be, well, Trump is always wrong, or that we're going to set the country on fire.
He's looking at him like, no, dude, I can't afford to do that. I won't have a job tomorrow.
I mean, this man must be a genius. Listen to the wisdom he's spouting.
Yeah.
We can't just say Trump is always wrong. Look at
that look. That man's like, he's like, bro, I got to pay my mortgage tomorrow.
He's like, what are you doing, man? You're off script.
Yes. You're ruining this, bro. You're ruining this. Are you sure Fetterman's not trolling? No, he's 100% serious. He's been the voice of reason. And Zero Fox saying, I don't want Fetterman to become a rep. I want him to stay on his side and be the anchor of sanity. Oh, I don't think Fetterman would switch over. He believes in the union. I mean, there's too much he believes in that he would cross over.
Yeah, and guys like that are really important. Like I remember, because I'm more of a centrist, I end up in like both lefty and righty circles, and everyone's mad at me all the time. But like in lefty circles, like everyone was so mad at Joe Manchin during Biden administration. And Joe Manchin might have saved the republic, because like he was the one who was saying like, okay, I hear you, everyone's mad, but I'm not doing that. I'm not going to, get rid of the filibuster just because you think it's a good idea for your cheap politics today. I think it's more important that we keep our norms and our society together. Like, and people were big mad at him, but he was the voice that kind of kept things sane for a while. And if Fetterman's charting that course, God bless, I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, I mean, when Joe Manchin started doing like just the hatred of not just of Joe Manchin, but like the left saw towards West Virginia, it was almost like if they could get Biden to nuke it, they would have cheered on that to happen. That these junkyard dogs, how dare they ruin what we're doing?
It's also what made me laugh about that so hard is because they would have to nuke it, because I don't know how much time your chat has spent in West West Virginia, but I can tell you that Joe Manchin is the most liberal dude in West Virginia. Like if you took the whole state and said, who's the leftiest guy here? It's Joe.
Oh, I did some oil work when I first passed the bar in West Virginia, and it was definitely something else. A little bit of, I wasn't licensed there, but I had to help the guys who were there do stuff. And oh man, walk into some of those courthouses, and I'm like, it was a unique place. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, they weren't getting a blue dog from that state. That's for damn sure.
Hope you're doing well, Jim. Good to see you, man. Somebody says go Mountaineers. Yeah, I will say that is the neat thing about West Virginia. You can go to Wheeling, you can watch greyhounds still. It's one of the few places left.
Oh,
out
fun.
This way. Yeah. If you ever seen dog races, they're actually kind of neat. They're super quick, which is also helpful. It's sad though. They treat the dog like the dogs have a lot of problems after they get done.
Oh, it's not a good scene.
I mean, it's better than the horses. I mean, the horses are better than them, but yeah. But it is cool though, because every once in a while they catch the rabbit, and that ruins them because now the illusion's gone. They're like, oh wait, it's just a toy. It's not a thing to chase anymore.
So if you train the dog to get fast enough, then it's no longer a racing dog.
Yeah, well, because eventually it'll run it down, and every once in a while that happens, and it kind of ruins them.
It's like a gladiator escaping the Colosseum.
Kind of. Yeah. They realize it's all a lie. Yeah, but no, it's, and I don't think, and this is where, as much as people on the left, there are people out there right now you'll see people saying they want to do something. I think, and it's funny because, did you see Erica Kirk when she did you listen to any of that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought it was so funny. Everybody's like, all the people on the left were like, what is this woman? Why is she like, who dares she to like, all she did was pick up her husband's banner. He fell, she picked up that banner, she said, I'm going to keep moving us forward. And, they for some reason were taken aback that this woman had fire in her. And it was passion. She wasn't calling for the right-wing death squads, but they seemed to be scared that she didn't do anything other than just say, we should all come together right now. And it was just something of, no, rally around me. We're going to keep doing what he did. And for some reason, I think they just didn't understand, or they refused to understand. And this kind of goes to what Destiny was saying. And I think this is actually what they meant. And it's what Destiny said. And I'm sure you've heard this already. And I know I'm using Right Angle News Network, but that's who I could immediately find when I Googled this. But guys, this is Destiny. Hutch is not talking to Destiny. Destiny is reacting to Hutch. So just so you guys understand, Hutch is not like on screen condoning this. Just so we're clear. I think that's important.
Yeah, Hutch is a lot more sane than Destiny.
Yes. But I think, just so that's clear, because I don't want people to think he was doing this. But anyways, here we go. Listen to Destiny.
Out the crime statistics? Not exactly like
you need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. Like, I don't know. It's like memes. It's just memes to everybody, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't care. I'm playing video games. Okay. I'm done today. I don't give a fuck. God, it's going to be so fucking gay if I get killed in the next fucking 2 months of shit I'm doing. Well, the cucked shit out here. Please don't anybody make any actual fucking, the most cucked, weak-ass, fucking bullshit-ass speeches on my side. God, if it happens, holy shit, I'm going to make a death note before I go out to go live and not. God, it's so cucked. It's so optics cucked.
Out the crime statistics?
Oh, hold on here. Yeah. And you could see that with them. And that's what I think most of the people who are reacting to Erica Kirk with like bewilderment were like, how many more of you need to die before you like stop what you're doing? And it's like, you don't get it. We're not. And this is, and this is something I was trying to argue with Connor about. How many, like, what do you mean scaring us? What more do you need to see happen, Destiny? And it's clear. How many more people? Destiny's saying, how many more of you need to die before you'll do what I want? And I don't think he understands. On the right, we will tell you to fuck off. How many of us need to die? All of us. It's like the meme about how many kids have to die for you to protect your guns. All of them.
Yeah, he wraps this up in some like bullshit game theory analysis,
Yeah.
where like, you know, I don't know if you guys ever talk about that, but it's in game theory there's like tit for tat, where if someone's aggressing on you, you aggress on them for deterrence sake. And he gives this kind of bullshit narrative, and there's a lot of problems with it. But one of them is that in a tit for tat game, well, who just got the tat, right? Charlie Kirk just got assassinated. The right is the side that just got hit. So it's the left's turn to respond, right? And that's why you see sane people, even if they disagree, and even if they're in their house privately happy that Charlie Kirk got killed, they're publicly, at least most sane lefties, are publicly trying to say the right thing because they know it's their turn. Destiny's just saying, like, I'm not even going to give that grace. And if you don't give any grace, and I think you were talking with Rob, I threw this in chat the other day, like if two sides are feuding and you never show any grace to the other side, you end up in a vendetta cycle because that's the only way it can go. You hit me, I hit you, you hit my family, I hit your family. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. And a little grace, it doesn't solve the problem, but every once in a while you show some grace and maybe someone on the other side goes, oh yeah, okay, I see that. We can, you know, we can calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you skip it and you're like, well, fuck it, I don't need to show any grace to you. I'm going to make fun of this grieving widow. How do you think people are going to take that? To your point, you think they're going to back down because of that? That's not how people react.
Yeah, the moment there's another turn, like the next conservative thing, and there's more shooting. You know what's going to happen then? You're just going to have an armed mass at everything, and you know what? If you better not be near there with blue hair is going to basically be the thing. Or I don't know if you saw the vigil in Idaho when they were holding a vigil for Charlie Kirk and the guy in the scooter rode by and the crowd just started river dancing on him.
I thought that was fighting words. I don't know if you agree.
I don't feel bad for that guy, but if they had cracked his skull and he died, you bought a ticket on the train, homie. You know, you want to be a revolutionary. This is what happens to revolutionaries. Expressly
not legal advice. I don't know the law of these states, so don't. I'm not advising you.
I'm not advising you guys do it either. But
from a mile high, you know, like if I was at my mother's funeral and someone came up to me and said, "Your mother's a whore," like you're getting cracked, right? Like that's fighting words. Like, and I think I think if you're at a vigil, if you are throwing a vigil and you come up and you start disrespecting the deceased, like in a sane society, you might get cracked in the face for that. That's the kind of thing that happens.
Yeah. It's like Chris Rock is famous for saying, "It's not that I condone it, but I understand." And you know, it's like sometimes I've had to use this before in court. I mean, I know you are, Ryan's had the opportunity to practice in front of the Supreme Court and do all kinds of great things. I slum it out in municipal courts and felony courts. So, but I've used the argument before if this guy needed his ass kicked in cases. And you know what? Sometimes the jury's like, yeah, this guy did need his ass kicked. Sometimes they say no, and sometimes they say he did need his ass kicked, but not as bad as your guy did. Your guy went a little too far. And yeah, sometimes it's a valid thing. It's not even mutual combat. It's just nobody feels bad for that guy. And but you know, those are the things where that guy goes out there and runs around and does it and they kill him. Well, now he's a martyr. And it's like that, you know, that's where it turns into just a disaster.
That's what I'm worrying about. James Lindsay, I put out a post that I thought was pretty good. And I'm just going to paraphrase it, but basically he was saying like the next shoe's about to drop, stay sane, everybody. And I think that's really good advice because, you know, I mean, beyond our tensions within the country, America has a lot of enemies. Like, I mean, every day you go on social media, I guarantee you at least one of the people you're arguing with and you're like, this person's so fucking stupid, who could possibly think this, is a foreign operative or a bot from fucking Pakistan. Like there are forces that would like to disrupt our democracy. And, you know, man, if I was sitting around and I really wanted to throw a monkey wrench in American foreign policy, a second assassination, ooh, that's a powder keg. Like I think, I don't know what it's going to be, but I think something's going to happen that really tests our sanity in the next couple weeks, and we got to be alert for that. Like you got to, you know, keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, Ellen Richards says ahem, Paul Pelosi. Yeah, sure, it was a bad thing. That was like what? How many years ago now? And also, to argue like these are on the same level of it, there's a bit of perspective there. And also, if we're tit for tatting things, we had an entire year in 2020 where almost every night something lit on fire in the name of the left. And we literally have had this year an Antifa terrorist, like the Dallas Antifa group had a cell of 10 people assault a federal installation. And they attacked it. And they were acting all hot to trot until one of them got shot in the face. And that's how, you know, life comes at you fast. But they got rolled up, and they rolled out with body armor and weapons, and they went looking for a fight. They thought they would be revolutionaries. We've had, you know, this year alone, you know, we could talk about like the, you know, and how we're counting all this stuff. And forgive me if I don't trust the ADL's methodology. You know, just like every gang shooting is not should not be counted as a mass shooting. You know, this year alone, like we have to go back and dip into like 25 years ago so we can throw in Oklahoma City for like the 180 some people Timothy McVeigh murdered. And like, that's how they kind of run up the score with this. It's like, no, like, just look at the last 9 months. You've got like, it's falling apart. And yeah, some guy in Minnesota killed the Hortmans and their dog. You know, nobody on the right was sitting there jacking off saying, fuck those people and their dog. Like, nobody did that. Nobody was sitting there laughing, saying, I hope it hurt like hell. Or, you know, oh God, you know, their kids are, you know, like, no, nobody did that. No one did any of that. Like, we are in a different mode right now. And the left is not in a position to do what they need to do. And that's going to make things worse here.
If we're going to bring up Paul Pelosi, the thing that I would say about that, and this is just a personal story, take from it what you will, is that story is one of the stories that made me learn to take the news slowly, even if it's a hot story, right? Because I made myself look so dumb. Thankfully, I wasn't on like the internet back then, but the Paul Pelosi story came out, and I heard, and I wasn't crazy. It was a local news outfit reported the story that basically that this was his lover, right? And they had like a spat. And I saw it. It was printed. It wasn't like a social media thing. It was a reputable news outfit. And I ran with it. I was telling people about it. And then they quietly retracted it. But I didn't notice that they retracted it, because who notices when a story is retracted? And then I just made an ass out of myself saying something that wasn't true for fucking a week until someone corrected me. And the lesson for that is, you know, just like, take this shit slow. Take this shit slow. Like when Kenosha burned, because rioters heard that Jacob Blake got shot and he was a black guy killed by a white cop, and they fucking burned the city down. But if they had taken the news slowly and let the investigation play out, they would have seen, as we all fucking learned later, that was a good shoot. There was nothing wrong with that.
They would have also learned that Jacob Blake's warrants were out because he forces himself upon women and sexually assaults them.
Yeah,
he was a piece of shit on every level, and he
was
tried
in the middle
to
of
take a car full of kids.
A kid with a knife and charged at the police officer. It was the cleanest shoot in the world. And if people had waited even a heartbeat to let the story play itself out, the city wouldn't have burned down. Yeah, but they, you know, but that's the energy of like the agitators, right? They can't fucking take the time to listen. It's a hard lesson to learn, but like, you know, calm down, take a breath.
This is a great example of it. He's white. He's from Utah. He's Mormon. There's pictures of him with guns. We got him. And it's like, not so much. You know, that's how they went. And it's like, he's Republican. It's like, no. no, not so much. Not so much now. Not so much now. And
Yeah.
I mean, that fell apart so quick, and they're like, so many people have so many apologies, and then it turns out, oh no, actually, he's fucking his boyfriend who's trying to transition. They're like, uh-oh.
Well, I mean, look, I think we said the same thing online recently, where it's like, evidence is not a conclusion, but you can notice when the evidence starts stacking up, right? So
Yeah.
if someone says to you, like, all right, like he has a trans boyfriend and he wrote fascist catch this on the bullet.
Yes.
What do you conclude
Yes.
from this evidence?
Yes.
Am I 100% certain? No, but you can notice that the
Yes.
evidence is pointing in a direction.
And he wrote Bella Ciao, and it's like, well, some people on the right use that to mock the hard left. It's like, yes, but the hard left also sings that. So you tell me.
Well, and then this is the other interesting thing, and I don't know if it's like fortuitous is the right word, but normally when you have these tragedies, the talking point becomes gun control, right? Oh, every time. But we had, this horrible stabbing followed by an assassination carried out with what appears to be like the most old school bolt action hunting rifle you could imagine, i.e., in any gun control scenario, the last gun that would ever be banned.
Well, the way many of us on the right see that is, they'll go, it's a sniper gun. Nobody needs a gun that can shoot a half mile. No one needs a gun that can shoot a mile. That's kind of where, like, after you start whittling down assault weapons, that's the next step of like, nobody needs a 20 power scope. Nobody needs this. Nobody needs that. And yeah, but that's where, like, it's the farthest thing away, because that's what you use to go kill a mule deer. It's what you use to kill an elk with. And
yeah, but I mean, like, it's a hunting rifle, literally a hunting rifle.
Yes.
So it's always that argument, right? Because no one needs this kind of gun. But like, that is like, I'm just saying it again, if you banned every gun in America except for one, it would be the one, because that's the most closely linked to hunting you could possibly have. So at least that hasn't been the outcome so far, though. I've seen a few people try to pivot to a gun control point from here, even though I don't really think it has any legs.
Many of them are just being assholes about it. Like, well, I guess, right, Eric, Charlie Kirk said, the Second Amendment's okay if people die, so ha 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 ha, fuck you. It's like, yeah, and Charlie Kirk would not want us to touch it. And then Stug is it Stug or Stug? Because if you're Stug, I don't know if you're Stug 3 or 4. Says, what does Ciao Bella mean? The song is called Bella Ciao. And it's a song that was adopted and saying it's kind of like retconned into the anti-fascist movement in Italy during World War II, which the anti-Nazi and the anti-fascist movement of World War II is pretty much communist groups in Italy. There weren't many right-wing groups that were fighting the Mussolini regime. I mean, well, to be fair. So yes, and it's something that they have adopted. If you go like, Antifa sing that song. Groups sing it all over, left-wing groups sing it all over the place. It's something that when Giorgia Meloni was running for office, her protesters were singing that song because, she was an evil, freaking fascist woman. Although I will say Mussolini's nephew, or his great-grandnephew or whoever he is, he has somebody who ran for parliament in Italy. I think he actually won a seat. His name is Julius Caesar Mussolini. that is probably the hardest name. That's like if I'm playing Civilization, that's a name I'm picking.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Name. So, but yeah, that's what Bella Ciao means, and they sing it. And if you Google it, you can find it. So,
Julius Caesar Mussolini.
Yeah,
that's a solid name.
I thought it was a typo at first, and I Googled. It's like, no, that's a real guy.
That's a real guy. So I don't know, man. Do you think, like, I know we've been bagging on the left's response all night, and I think justifiably, particularly because I was just so fucking mad about what Destiny did recently. But like, from the right, what is the correct tone? Like, both politically and morally, like what's the right tone to use strike here?
I mean, well, right now, I mean, the right is very. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, fine, it's like, are we strapping on the cleats or are we not? Like, that's where a lot of people are, and there's for the right. I mean, it's very much if they're not going to engage, that's fine. Crack open a Bible, get your friends, get your family, and start. There's a lot of people, and it's start preparing because you know what? Maybe we can work on our faith and hope, and we will, that cooler heads will prevail. But in the meantime, if they're not willing, if this is what they're doing, we'll focus on ourselves. And if we end up running off the cliff, like we'll run off the cliff, and then we'll be ready. I mean, I'd like to hope we're far enough from the cliff we can turn it around, but I don't know. I'd like to think so. America, and people on the left hate this, but like, I really do think God blessed, like God intends America. Like this is he picked this place for a reason, and he made everything happen here for a reason, and he meant for this place to be destined for greatness and the people in it to be destined for greatness. I truly, truly do. But I mean, I want to have that hope, because if we have to settle this and it's a jump ball, that's going to destroy it. Maybe it'd come back in a century or so, but it would be utterly, utterly devastating, and I don't want it to happen.
Yeah. It's just so depressing because it's like you think about our founders who like were men of towering faith, and they disagreed about the nature of God, right? Like there's no bigger disagreement you could have. That's the biggest one. And they were able to come together and say, okay, here's what we agree on. Today we can't do that about like about political issues. Like,
and those guys were insane about, like, the religious ones were insane about it. Like if you were a Catholic, you weren't allowed to live outside the state of Maryland. Like they were truly, they thought the Quakers were a bunch of, I'm going to use words here that, on with the Twitch poll, they might get really mad about. They thought the Quakers were a bunch of fags. Like the Quakers have something to say. We're busy fighting a war. Nobody cares what you have to say, Quaker. Like there was and even then, Rhode Island, like all these people just breaking off, forming their own colonies and provinces, and just running around doing whatever they wanted. It just, and they were still able to make it work, and they fought a war and won, and were able to like put it all aside to get things done. And now it's like, well, can a boy use the girl's bathroom? And like that's now what we're fighting over is, or like, what is a woman? Or, like,
well, the thing about that always bothered me is that, I'm obviously, my channel's called Natural Law. I'm a big believer in natural rights. It's what I want to talk about whenever I can. And there's a weird word game that I would say like relativists, and particularly like the postmodernist kind of Marxist left tends to play, where they say, we say we're a nation founded to protect natural rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, free speech. Yes. And they say, oh, rights. Well, that sounds interesting. Did you mean human rights? And doesn't human rights include the right to have a fully funded healthcare system by other taxpayers?
Doesn't that mean a right to food?
Yeah, it doesn't mean a right to food. Doesn't it mean a right for anyone to play and win in sports if they say they want to? And it's like, well, hold on. You seem to be expanding the category pretty wildly here, buddy, because I suspect you don't actually believe in the concept, and you're just playing a fucked up game with me right now. And I think that's a problem. I think we do need to find a way to kind of like speak American values and at least reclaim the center, right? So it's like, it's like you can be fringe if you want to, but it's a 30-70 issue. Go do your thing.
Yeah. No, and that's, and it's just, it's, oh, sorry. No,
job well. Doesn't pursuit of happiness mean pursuit of property? It partially does. I would say property rights, the right to work and develop property and own that property and profit from that property, is a natural right. That's why when people ask me, is socialism evil? I say yes, because socialism entails abolishing natural rights. It entails if
Mhm.
if the workers must own the means of production, you cannot start a business, so you don't have property rights. You cannot choose to work for a wage, so you don't have the right to self-ownership. It entails abolishing natural rights,
Mhm.
and America was founded to protect natural rights, so it is fundamentally un-American.
Yes. And I know I'm going to butcher this, but one of my political science professors in college, he explained that one of the reasons why, for example, in collectivist societies and heavy left-leaning societies, the commies, why organized religion's a problem for them, and it's because the religion, you yourself can seek, happiness. You yourself could seek that enlightenment, and you don't need anybody but yourself. And it's a structure, it's that structure that allows you as a person to go do something. And it's that individuality that comes with those rights that, you have the right to property, you have the right to this, you have the right to that. That is so inherently anathema to what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
That's why they have to oppose it at every single step of the way.
Exactly. And the genius of our founders, if you and literally,
Mhm.
I didn't make this up, just read the Declaration of Independence. It's in the first 2 paragraphs.
Mhm.
It's not long. But what Thomas Jefferson wrote is because our founders needed a way to justify rebellion against the English. And
Mhm.
normally, like if you read the Declaration of Independence of Ireland, which is also from the English, the Declaration of Independence will say what Ireland say. We are a separate ethnic people. We are the Irish. We
Mhm.
deserve freedom. Right?
Yes.
But we couldn't say that because we weren't a separate people.
We were
So
English. Yeah.
we needed a different moral claim. And then Jefferson wrote down our moral claim. What is our moral claim? We find it self-evident that our creator endowed us with unalienable natural rights, that we institute governments to protect those rights. And when those rights are violated, you have a right to rebel against your
Mhm.
government because those rights are a moral claim of higher priority than your government. So a communist state can't tolerate it because somebody says, how come you're taking all my property? How come I can't own a home? How come I can't take care of my family? And they say, well, the government gives you your rights. You don't have any natural rights. You only have the rights we give you. And that's a really attractive view for people who hate individuality, who hate people who actually want to kind of tend to their garden and take care of their family and build something.
Mhm.
And it's a tell. And I think that a huge swath of the left has rejected this idea, but not all of them. And the ones that didn't, we can find some common ground with. Like there's people out there like Fetterman in that quote who's like obviously a sane guy. So we need to find those people and form a coalition with them and say and kick the fucking fringe communists off the boat. Like we're done. We're not playing games with them anymore.
Iconoclast. Some of my family got off the boat in like 1900 something, but a lot of them were here for a long time. One half wasn't. But that gets to another issue, and this is something in the lead up before Charlie Kirk got killed. I was reading, and this guy made a lot of sense. This idea of being white was something that really America developed because we became a pan-European thing. Because before for the longest time you were in Europe, your nationality, like you were an ethnic group. The Dutch were an ethnic group, basically. The Walloons were an ethnic group. The Flemish were an ethnic group. The French were an ethnic group. And they had this ethnic tension, and this ethnic tension is still kind of there today. It's boiled over into why do the French and the British hate each other? Because they've always hated each other. Why do the French or the Germans hate each other? They've got 2,000 years of hating each other. And you get through all the different ethnic groups, the Germans in the Sudetenland, and all the different irredentisms you see out there. Even in Poland and even in Belarus, all these regions that are fighting over territory. Ukraine's a great example. People call it Lvov. No, it's Lemberg. You can go how far? We go back a million different ways. All these countries have claim to that area in various pieces. And for America, and this is something I always thought was kind of weird that the left really never embraced this idea. It's like America kind of transcended all of that to the point where it did something, like the Soviets. They tried to say, you're not a Kazakh, you're not an Uzbek, you're a Soviet. you don't have to be, we're all in this together. And America was able to do that. There is no, it's the same reason why, like, I'm part Italian. I wasn't considered white. I wouldn't have been considered white 100 years ago. The Irish part of me wouldn't have been considered white a long time ago. But, it transcended that. It was able to move past it. And I don't think it's just, they don't understand, like, this is the best, I think, the best thing going.
It's a revolutionary idea.
Yeah.
I love this a guy, Greg Lukianoff, who's the head of FIRE, and I'm a big supporter of that organization because they're the only true free speech org left. But the name of his Substack is The Eternally Radical Idea, and I think it's a great title because that's how I think about the American founding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just came up with this idea that no one. That's fucks. You're killing me, man. It just no one. It was just brand new and has stood the test of time, and it's phenomenal. And this is, maybe this is what I'm going to start doing when I talk to people. I'm going to say, like, I'm going to ask them, like, what was one thing Trump was right about? And they could say something very easy, like, it was dumb in 2020 when people were tearing down the statues of Thomas Jefferson. That was dumb. Trump was right to call that dumb. That's a stupid thing to do. Like, there's so many little things where we could forge agreement. And if you're talking to a sane person, I think they would be able to recognize that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being optimistic, but I think we could probably find somebody on the left who would agree Thomas Jefferson actually is somebody we should learn about.
Yeah, but at some point, or they'll just be focused on, well, did you know he was probably autistic? It's like, okay, great. I guess that's where we'll go with this.
Do you know what he did with his slaves? It's like, yes, I know.
Okay, great. So he was, like, I thought we wanted that. He was making blended kids. There we go.
Jesus Christ. I haven't tried that response.
Just try and see what they do. Just try and see what they do.
I'll try that one.
I thought that was like, so did you want him to, like, that's like, wait, I thought you were, like, did you want him to be a misogynation? But no,
there's a great joke when I was learning French, my French instructor speak about, like, the ethnic rivalries within Europe, because I've always heard the other side, like the English making fun of the French, and he goes, Ryan, it's very important that you understand that in Europe there are cultural stereotypes. Like how the English, they say all Frenchmen, they stink, and in France we say all Englishmen, they are faggots. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's a stereotype. That's an interesting one.
I wish my French teacher wouldn't have done that. Mrs. French was not that type of, she was a very nice woman, so she wouldn't have said something like that. Yes, Robin Hood says tabernacle. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
A
That's
lot
very,
of French would say that's
very
not
French
very
Canadian of you.
Yes. Although the French would say that doesn't count as French. No, like I said, I like to think, there's gonna be something, but I think it's just gonna cause, a lot of people are just gonna have to come sit down and I guess it's kind of one of these things where the right's gonna circle the wagons, and if somebody wants to come over and talk, I think they'll be willing to talk, but it's right now the right really is not in a mood to talk right now. I'll say it like that. There's not the let's sit down, like, we'll wait for you. It's like, no, you're going to have to come to the left is going to have to come to the right on this one.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly where I'm at with that. I think that's from what I can tell from the people I've been talking to.
I think they certainly need to make an overture, right? And I think that, like, the fair thing for the right to do is to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
I
said,
think the right will.
Like if you want to do what Fetterman did and say, like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest about where we are as a country.
Yeah.
All ears. I do think, though, that the right is going to reject the fake politician apology.
Oh, they are.
And I think they're going to reject it for the same reason that people rejected Kamala Harris when she was running. And I tried to explain this to lefties, and they couldn't really understand it. Where they'd say things like, well, she never said anything about trans issues, so why, or border issues that was negative. So why are you ascribing this policy to her? And you're like, it's in the air, it's in the water. I don't think she's the puppet master. I think she's the puppet. And these ideas, I think, are being passed through her. So unless she shows me some independent spirit, I'm going to assume that she's on board. And she didn't show that. Now would be a great time, I think, for Democrats to do what Fetterman did and show like an independent streak, that you're not here to read the talking points. You're here to be a human being, and that there's some commonality there.
Well, and I will say, and I'm going to try to see if I can find, I hate using this. I don't like being that guy where it's like, well, look, I was talking to somebody and here's where we ended up with. But it was interesting because somebody was saying, well, how do we go through this? And I mean, I hate to use it for this thing here, but you know, this is kind of like the problem here. This guy right here, this ghost bag guy, like he starts, because this is where we were talking about the whole, you know, disavowing things. Well, this guy starts talking about like if a Dem president's starting acting like a fascist tyrant, you know, like there you go, you're doing it and you don't even realize it. Like they're not even. It's like, did you hear yourself, buddy?
Well, and part of me wants to be like, you know, just say it with your chest. Yeah. You know, like I've been.
You want to come after me? That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's say, you know, like that's the thing with Destiny. Like Destiny wants to talk about like fucking slapping nuts together. Like, you know, I'm ready. Like, you know, a lot of people just fucking be about it. Tell us what you want. You know, challenge the side and like we'll do this. I don't really want to do that, but like, you know, if we're placing bets, I'm not placing bets on, you know, General Destiny's army working out too well.
Well, and just like say what you mean and mean what you say, right? Yeah. Like when I said earlier, like socialism is evil, what I mean by that is if we snapped our fingers and America's government was replaced by socialism tomorrow, I think an armed rebellion would be a moral and justified response. It would be the correct thing to do in that scenario.
Oh yeah,
and because it's evil. That's what I mean by evil. So if you're going to say Trump is evil, you're going to say he's a fascist, you're going to say he's a Nazi.
There's only one way out.
You have to assume the person who's hearing that is saying, "Oh, so you mean he's so bad it justifies violence?"
Yeah,
because
like if you told me the Nazis are dealt with.
Yeah, if you told me magic wand, you know, tomorrow you wake up, the Nazis are in charge, I would say, all right, we fight. Yeah. Like, of course you would. Like, why wouldn't you? So I'm not sure what else they mean by that. I don't think it strikes me as difficult to believe that somebody's saying the sitting president and the majority of both houses and the Supreme Court are all fascists. And when we say that, what we mean is, we don't really like their policies, we'll vote against them next time.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what that means.
No. Yeah. No, like like that's why I've said this before. If you really believed all the shit you were saying, you'd be learning how to make IEDs and organizing resistance groups right now. Because it's only going to get worse from here, and then eventually I'm going to be standing there in front of you with like a boat sail size Hugo Boss uniform on and a Luger pistol telling you hop on the train. Like if you really believe that, and nobody ever believes that, like Pisco's not out there, you know, learning how to do ready up drills and loading magazines and like learning how to like, you know, developing red level and black white, black and red level communications, learning how to run radios, learning how to do all kinds of shit. If you really thought that was happening, you would be doing that stuff right now. But no, you're not. You're like, I'm just going about my day, and yeah, fascism. It's like,
yeah,
they're some of the most lackadaisical fucking people that if they think the Nazis are coming.
And that's the story that broke my brain a few times. Yeah. It was a threefold. It was one, the DNC funding Trump's candidates in the last midterm cycle because they thought they'd be easier to beat. Now, if you think that they're actually fascists and Nazis, that would be kind of a crazy thing to do. So, you know, then the funniest one was after Harris lost, the stories coming out of her camp that, you know, they said Trump's a fascist, he's going to take over the country, there's going to be nothing left, there'll be no elections, he's going to be a dictator for life. Then they lost, and they said, staff, good job, you ran a great race, we'll get him next time. And the staff's like, what do you mean next time? You said if we lost, there was no next time. They're like, oh yeah, no, next time at the next election. Because
and they don't, you know, and I see these the fell for it again awards, like, you motherfuckers fell for it again. Like, yes, when we thought, you know, and I'll say it, the right thought Biden was we were gonna be fucked. I mean, he did fuck up a lot of things, but like the idea we were fucked. Okay, yeah, no, that did turn out that way. I mean, I thought, like, when Obama won, and I don't think you know, you probably wouldn't have back then, but Glenn Beck, Glenn Beck in like 2008, 2009, 2010, it was like the openings, like his song to his show, his intro, it was fucking morose and somber, and like, I remember sitting there and I'm like 23 years old, like, oh my fucking God, this is it. We're done. We're done. And then I think Glenn Beck realized, oh my God, I'm stirring people up into like a fucking, I'm about to set off a forest fire here. Whatever reason, he started calming me down and saying, no, we have to be loving and buy my khakis and buy gold and subscribe to the Blaze. But it very much, you know, like, people, I remember, like, you know, 22-year-old me was like, holy shit, if this guy wins, we're fucked. And it's like, okay, yeah, he did a lot of shit I didn't like, but like, we're still here.
It's all right. Yeah, it's gonna work out in the long run. And it's so what makes it interesting for me, because I go on a lot of these shows, and not ones like this where we're just chatting, but like where it's more of like a debate, right? Yeah. And you know, if the person's on the right,
what do you want to debate? Let's go. We can debate.
Let's go. Let's fucking do it. Yeah. They try to cast me as a lefty if they're on the right, and if if someone like Destiny tries to cast me as being on the right, as being on the far right, because that's what he does, right? Yeah. And it's so unproductive, because, you know, if the conversation instead was just like, hey, let's talk about like something that we think Trump's doing right, something he thinks that he's doing wrong, you'll get me to agree about all kinds of stuff Trump does that I disagree with. Like, it's a long list. I have a lot of fucking criticism. But that doesn't mean I want to join your garbage political project. Like, just because I criticize Trump doesn't mean I want to vote for socialism. And you guys appear to be flirting with socialism and complaining that not enough Dems are supporting Mamdani in New York. Like, so we can have a conversation, but if what you require is my capitulation, then we're not talking. You're saying that I need to roll over and beg, and that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's, and you know, the idea of, well, if you don't like Trump, you must like our guy, and I'm like, I don't like your guy either. So is it about teams? It's like, no, your guy's really fucking bad too. I just think Trump is not as bad, and I hate having to make that decision.
It's very bizarre to me. It's treated in this kind of like a duopoly, right? Like, this is why, by the way, for those of you who like read the Federalist Papers, our founders didn't want to have political parties. And the reason that they didn't want to have political parties is that they were afraid that exactly what is happening would have happened. That you would have these parties that entrench themselves, and then the people aren't electing the best people. They're electing whoever the party is willing to give them. And, you know, like George Washington didn't have a political party.
No, but immediately afterwards, they started having parties, because they're like, I think they very much were like, we could do that. You know what? The party thing is really bad, but we're cool enough. We can make it work. And it's like, I think they suffered from that. They're like, look, we just made this banger of a first album. You know, we had the Declaration of Independence, then we had a bummer of one with the Articles of Confederation, but then our third album, the Constitution, that was just, so we can do this. We can do anything. Let's have parties. And so I mean, I watched John Adams, and I think it is hilarious the way they, you know, obviously it's all fictionalized, but the way they wrote about it, you're like, it's not too much different from today. It's just, you know, the scope of what they're arguing about.
I don't have the dates straight in my head, so if I get this wrong, chat, forgive me. But I actually think part of the reason they ended up with parties was because of that experience, because they were like, we got so much right, and then they're like, all right, so the president's whoever gets the most votes, and the vice president is whoever gets the second most votes, and then you got Washington and Adams, and they fucking hate each other. And it's just an absolute train wreck to have two guys in the same administration who are just like absolute enemies. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe we should have a party. Maybe the VP should actually agree with the president. That might be helpful.
Yeah. No, and I think the one thing I do worry about, and Golden just kind of bringing it up, it's like if we did do I don't want multi-parties, because then that turns into Zoran Mondami fucking getting 25% of the vote somehow. And now they have, it's kind of like in France. The left and Macron had to throw in with the socialists and the hardcore communists to defeat Marine Le Pen. And it's literally destroying them. And they're just grinding themselves apart.
Yeah. And also
hold on here. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, hold on. I got to write an email real quick. If,
okay.
Just give me a second. Yeah, no, I mean, there's problems with all systems, and what I really don't want is the European parliamentary system. I think honestly, the actual problem, if I was going to be analytical, is that the federal government is just too big. Like if you had the government we were promised in the Constitution, which was a very limited federal government and very powerful states, it would be so much easier to give grace to the other side, because you'd say, wow, shit, those are some real bad ideas. Have fun with those in California.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, it doesn't really affect you that much, and you can let it play out. And maybe it works, and then you copy it, and maybe it doesn't work, and you laugh about it, right? But if those assholes are in DC and it's not about one state, it's a one size fits all for the country. Now the stakes are really high, and I don't think we can really live that way. I think the country's too big and people are too different. Like, I don't think the people in like Arkansas and California want to live the same way.
No,
and I don't think they have to.
No, and they shouldn't. They don't want to. Well, the people in Arkansas don't really want to, but the people in California end up, like, it's like the gas cans. Like, there's a reason why gas cans suck, because of California.
Yep.
It just goes out everywhere. The cafe standards came out of California. Fuel economies, and you have these states where, whether or not they intend to, they end up dictating to everybody else how things work.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I just saw Rob Noor went live, and the title of his stream is "Ladies and Gentlemen, I present to you the moderate left, the streamer Destiny."
Well, I mean,
that's a good title.
Yeah, and the thing is,
Rob.
I mean, he's on Piers Morgan, and people are going to see that, and they're just going to see him. Like, I saw the clip, a little bit of it, and I thought I saw, like, was it Anna Kasparian on that panel too?
Yeah, she was.
And she's just sitting there, just like. And Destiny's just, I Piers Morgan is a showman at the end of the day. I give him credit for that. He's making clicks and views, and he's bringing in them dollars that I can't figure out how to do, but or have the to sell out for like that. But he's bringing in them bucks, and Destiny just lets him rant and rave, and like he's gonna be, well, yeah, that's the thing too. It becomes Hassan and Destiny, and I still don't understand why. Well. The New York Times' brilliant idea was, let's let Hassan Piker just run wild and unopposed in an open essay, in an open essay about everything. Like, I don't know how they thought that was going to make it better.
I mean, I think Destiny and Hassan are in a tight race to see who can be the strongest soldier for the right. Yeah. Like the best possible way to recruit people to conservatism is to let them listen to Hassan.
Yes.
Like, like if you hear that shit, you'll be, oh boy, that's dumb. I got to stop that shit. Like,
that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, there's so many people who want like Destiny arrested for this or that. And I'm like, no. Let the man cook. Like, I almost feel like he's controlled opposition at this point.
The craziest thing to me about all this, and this is just like a personal story, so just a little time machine.
Yeah.
Like the first big internet event I did was I was debating Destiny about the immunity decision in person. And the reason it was in person is he came to New York City because he was liaisoning with all the Democratic candidates, and he was having this big thing, and he was pushing himself to be Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
right?
he was
Like
pushing that
he
Destiny
was
New
on the
York thing,
precipice
yeah.
of it. And my first experience with Destiny is I go there, I do this in-person debate. I'm like, man, I actually did this cool event. I'm going to go start promoting it. Maybe see if I can maybe develop a little bit of a channel. This is, early days for me. I'm kind of happy with myself because I think I did well. And the next day, it drops that he's accused of, like this fucking sex pesting, and he's sharing revenge porn, and all these allegations come out, and then the connections with the DNC all fall apart after the allegations. But if that hadn't happened, he'd be pushing himself into Charlie Kirk territory. That's what he was going for.
Yeah.
And like, you think the first thing he'd think is, holy shit, that could have been me. I could have been the one who shot. Right. And like, have some humility.
Well, I think that's what, as much as I was saying it, I think Hassan, when he had that 10 seconds of quiet, when he's watching that, when he's reading it and watching it, that's the first thing that went through his mind is, oh shit, I was going to be on stage with this guy. I might be next. And then immediately he goes back to blustering, but it's like, that was a little boy who realized he's playing grown man games.
Yeah.
And for a second, he felt mortal.
All of us who are in this space should, like, that's what I mean about shared humanity. Like, I argue with Pisco about everything. Like, like we disagree about everything, but he's a lawyer. We work in the same legal community. We go to the same events. We know the same people. I don't wish ill on Pisco. The fact that we disagree, but he goes and he does the Tim Pool debates live. That's a hostile environment.
Very hostile. Yeah.
We should not feel like we're taking our life in the lines to go debate somebody.
Yeah. He doesn't have to worry that everybody there is going to jump him and drag him off the stage or anything like that. And he shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's not the reason the Destiny thing pissed me off so much is that that's not a big ask. Like when I keep saying on this stream, like, what's a little concession? Give me something. One thing Trump's right about. The smallest possible concession is Charlie Kirk had a loving family. Charlie Kirk appeared to believe in what he was saying. Charlie Kirk's in the same game that I'm in, and I don't think people in that game should be killed. And I'm willing to extend him a little bit of grace, and we'll bury him, and then tomorrow I'll start fighting you again. That's nothing. It costs nothing.
Yeah, he liked dogs. Okay, great. That's a start.
Yeah, something. Just give but I get it. Like, look, I mean, if you titled this stream, "The Streets Will Run Red with Blood, 2 lawyers start packing IEDs," your numbers would probably go up. Because that's what the internet rewards. It rewards like truly tragic behavior.
Yes, and for the YouTube algorithm, it's just sitting there going, "This is gay. This is boring." and that's how it's reacted to, because I love Rob, but that's what you need, that title.
Yeah because it's like you got to go hard in the paint to get attention, and I understand what that does to us, but it's also like this weird thing where, I mean, you've done public conversations, so I think your audience probably knows. In the bygone era, when not everything was done on the fucking internet, you would have a private conversation with someone. And in a private conversation, you can actually change someone's mind, right? But on a public stage, you can never change anyone's mind. No, everyone's performing. It's not a conversation. And now all our conversations are had on social media in public, and nobody can give a fucking inch. People, you should see the fucking crazy comments I get.
I bet I give more inches than you can.
Over my fucking dead body.
I'll give up everything.
It's time to measure him, son. Yeah, no, you see, like, if you saw some of the threads I had with Destiny recently, I'd say the most minor thing. Like, I'd be like, Destiny should probably extend some grace. That would be the appropriate thing to do. And people will come back being like, fuck you, fascist. You have no idea. Destiny's just defending people from your fascist turncoat takeover. It's like, whoa, guys, whoa, calm the F down. Be a human being for a second.
Yes, as the kids used to say, touch grass.
Yeah, I don't know. But I do think your message is right, though. Like, if you focus on Charlie's faith, Charlie's family, I think that's the right starting point. I think that sets the right tone, at least. And from there, it's easier to have a conversation.
And I will tell you, though, there are many that are like, this is where they're going to focus, but there's like, that's the primary focus, but also we're over here making preparations.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I don't think people, like, they could joke about it or whatever, but people on the right are starting to get very serious. And I'm not saying it's me, but I'm telling you there are people on the right who are getting very, very serious. And there's people who have already been very serious and have been about it. But there are a lot more people who are getting very serious very quickly. And, this is one of those things where, have you ever heard the unicorn song? It's about like the funniest one of all was the unicorns. Like the ark started drifting and floating away, and all the unicorns they just wanted to play. That window of wanting to, that window of grace and openness. Don't be the unicorns when the ark floats away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're not, because when it happens, I've told my chat this, it's not like people like, is it now? I said no. But when it happens, it is going to be like a fucking dam exploding. And all of a sudden, it's going to fucking explode. And that's it. And then it's a matter of, can you survive the dam break?
Yeah.
And when that happens, like, I mean, because I'll use an example of like if Trump had been killed. Regardless of who did it, the amount of violence you would have seen, and it wouldn't take much because let's say I had 2 attacks in every state. That's a lot of attacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's 100. But, you're going to have like in Texas, you're going to have a gajillion of them. California, you have a bunch. But Wyoming, you won't have too many because there's not too many to do there. But when it happens, it's going to happen. And I don't think they understand. I don't think that's something they think they're ready for that. And it's like, I don't think you are. And I don't know. That's the thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, I worry about that too. And it's a tough thing to do because when you're in a powder keg scenario like that, and I think what you're describing is a powder keg, one bad action, and it could come from the left, it could come from the right, to be honest with you. One bad action would set the whole fucking thing off, right?
Yeah,
and I think
right
that
now at that point, I think.
Yeah, and I think the only way for those of us who want to avoid that scenario and want to de-escalate and play bloody politics, throw elbows, but let's not push a civil war scenario. I think the key is to remember what American values actually are, because that's how we end up healing. Like, the reason I've been focusing on the left is I think that there's some ideas on the left that actually need to be identified as bad because they're fundamentally un-American. And once those are more or less defeated, politics will be a little saner. But the right isn't immune to having those ideas as well.
Oh, it's not. It's not.
And if you're sitting around the fire and you hear somebody, say to you, hey, wouldn't it be better if America was an ethno state? It's like, okay, buddy, you're not helping either. Like we're in a tense situation right now. And I'll criticize the left for rejecting the American proposition all day. It doesn't mean I need to hear it from both ears. I don't need it in stereo, buddy. So I think that you got to be careful because when you have a powder keg, the bad actors are maximally incentivized. I'm not talking about politicians or I'm not talking about ideology. Yeah. Just fucking crazy people who just like watching shit burn. They're going to be out in fucking force, and we've got to be vigilant for that.
And that's where, like I said, I think you're right. This is an issue of like, look, some of your And it's the funny thing. Somebody said, like, well, if we stop calling people fascists and Nazis, will you promise stop calling people communists? No, but if you call someone a communist, nobody ever like. If somebody says, "Hi, I'm a communist," do they get to shoot and run out of their communities and take it away from their jobs? Like, none of that happens. Like, if like the guy on the Jubilee thing said, "I'm a fascist," dude basically had his life ruined in like a day.
Yeah.
But if that person said, "I'm a communist," like nothing happens to them. And it's like, until that is treated as a, people realize like to be a communist and support Marxism is as bad, if not worse, than, loving to read Mein Kampf every day and saying, wow, these people were really fucking evil. Some of the evilest people ever to exist. I mean, like, for the idea for somebody a tanky to be treated like Nick Fuentes, like, that's what needs to happen. And right now it's the tankies and Hassan Piker who get to dictate how the left is run right now.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, like, look, there are, we teach Marxism, not like ironic or here's a historic error Marxism, but there's like actual Marxist professors in major universities. Kamala Harris's father was one of them. So,
Bill Ayers, the guy that Obama was his like mentor, he said fucking bombs. Like, we're like, he wanted to usher in a communist revolution. But we're like, that's okay. Yes, Queen.
But that's the thing. The stigma wasn't attached to that for whatever reason. And I don't claim to know that. So you got kids with, they're fucking college and they've got like a, hammer and sickle patch on their fucking backpack as they chat on their iPhone. It's ridiculous. And we do actually need, and I hate to say this because conservatives suck at this, but conservatives need to start actually building educational institutions. They need to start, saying this is what we think education should look like. Yeah. And this is how we're going to, not just criticizing the existing ones, but actually getting in the weeds. But that's tough because I'm a former teacher. I can tell you with 100% certainty that ed training is as liberal as left as you could possibly get it.
And this is true from zero.
Yes, zero fucks.
Because
exactly
while the right was out building the country, they were seizing it. Yeah. And it takes a long time to destroy all of that. But yes, no, Hillsdale College isn't a joke, but Hillsdale College is one college in the middle of Hee-Hawville of Michigan, which is not bad, but there's, there needs to be a lot more Hillsdales.
And we need to celebrate the successes. Like University of Chicago is, I wouldn't say that it's like right in the way that we're talking about left and right, but they're very right economically, and they adhere strictly to free speech. And what does that mean? It means that Chicago really believes in free speech. They don't believe in the heckler's veto, which no one who believes in free speech does. So they have clear policies. When you protest, you can use this space. You can't occupy this building. If you violate the policies, then you will lose your right to be at school. We will suspend you. We will expel you. Like they're not playing about it. And when the Israel-Palestine protest broke out, all the protests at Chicago were orderly. And the people who were protesting for Palestine got to protest, and the people who were protesting for Israel got to protest, and then all the students went home.
It's funny how that one never made the news.
Of course, yeah, because they actually had a sane policy that wasn't. Jonathan Haidt made this point, which is I'm parroting it, but it's a wonderful point. A lot of universities, if you look at the mission statement of Yale, it used to be along the lines of, we're going to find the truth and educate students. And it became, we will make the world a better place by doing X, Y, and Z. So social justice got built into the motto. And once social justice gets built into the motto, they're no longer trying to be neutral. They're trying to make the world a better place. So if they think the world's a better place by supporting Israel, or they think the world's a better place by supporting Palestine, of course they're not going to be neutral with their students, because that's not their job anymore. And we need to have educational institutions that represent American values. We want to find the truth. We want to learn. We want to educate people. We're not trying, the colleges are not supposed to be making society better. They're supposed to be doing what colleges do. And then politics can make society better. That's what politics is for. We got to keep these institutions separate.
Hold on here. I want to try to see what somebody said here. People are being a little goobers to each other there. So, yeah, Jim's saying, did everybody stay in their First Amendment zones like good boys? Sounds like it in Chicago.
Well, I mean, look, you know what? If you don't, if you get expelled, if you don't, then yeah.
I mean, it sounds like everybody was housebroken. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up.
North, what's up, man? What's going on, buddy? Yeah. Look, the thing about this is, and again, like I'm a big First Amendment guy, but you don't actually have unlimited First Amendment rights on a campus. Like, nor do you have unlimited First Amendment rights in my house. The First Amendment limits the government. It doesn't limit a university.
Nor do you have them at your job.
Yeah. So, like, the way a university should approach free speech is in keeping with its mission. If its mission is to find the truth and honor American values, then yeah, let everyone protest, make sure it's orderly. If your mission is, make the world better because we have a political agenda, then that's not what you're going to do. And that's why you saw Columbia be such a fucking mess, because they didn't, they're all jumbled up and they were not able to enforce or articulate a policy.
Mm-hmm. No, and it just, and from there it just spiraled, and because they couldn't enforce a policy. I mean, this is where, do I think that Mahmoud Khalili guy, I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah. Like, that should have been the reason why. The idea that it sounds like he worked for the FCO, which is a British glowy organization. Like, yeah, I don't like giving British intelligence assets green cards. Like, I think that should have been looked into a lot more. But instead, like, there was a inability to govern, which led to a reaction that went overboard.
Yeah, and this is where when I get critical of the Trump administration, it's about stuff like this, which I think you alluded to earlier, where it's like, okay, there's a problem. We need a solution. But then I don't know if it's just like zeal to own the libs or whatever. I don't know what the motivation is, but sometimes they just overshoot the mark so far. And then it's like that makes the left get very angry, which I think is sometimes politically useful for Trump. But it also means that when people ask me, they're like, well, legally, what do you think of this? I'm going to be like, oh, legally, that doesn't work. Yeah. Like, and I can't, I'm not going to lie about it. Like, they're not doing it right.
Well, what I think honestly about that, though, is I think some of that is I want to own the libs and watch them catch their hair on fire. But I think a lot of that is they know, like, we're not going to get an inch. We tried this the first time, the first way, and look what happened. So I honestly think if Trump had been given a second term, if he had won the second, like 2020, it would have just been more of him getting cucked and making shitty decisions and just morassing around. But now that he had to sit and go spend some time on the Warriors' journey out, and he had his down moments and he had to go learn how to pull the X-wing out of the mud. He's come back and he's just like, part of it is owning the libs, but part of it is just running through the streets with his hair on fire. Like, I can't stop. Like, we have to go. And
while I was criticizing the legal structure they used in that instance, I will say the legal advice he's getting in the second term is clearly better.
Yes.
Like, if you look at like what he did with the Alien Enemies Act, that's very creative, clever lawyering. He got some very sharp advice to pull
sneaky
that one
lawyering.
off.
Yeah. They're very clever.
That was, and especially like picking that fight, because I think, courts don't want to rule on the executive declaring an emergency. They know that's not their domain. And they're going to shy on that. And then even now, when he backed off of deploying National Guard in Chicago, because it's frankly pretty clearly a legal problem to do that. Like, you do it in LA because there were riots and the riots were preventing ICE from doing their job. You do it in DC because DC is federal territory.
Yes.
But doing it in Chicago, I would have been on the warpath. I was ready to get real mad about it. So,
but that was not. But that was the very much a. Now look what you have the Chicago mayor saying, no, we like our murders. We're murdering it up. Murders are an ethnic Chicago activity. It's our pastime. Like, is everything fine? Oh, it's great. You had 500 murders this year. Yeah, but it's like, it's better than last year. We had 700. And you're
But
like,
this is again, man. This is the joy of being a limited government, a federalism enjoyer.
mhm.
It's like, hey, you know what? If you want to enact policies that just get your citizens murdered year after year, God bless America. You go do that, and we are going to sit here in a safer area where we don't do that shit and judge you for it. I don't think that means that the federal government needs to intervene. I think you need to elect different people. Like if you
Yes.
look at who they elected in Chicago, I mean, I thought Lori Lightfoot was a terrible mayor.
yeah.
And then I was like, they couldn't possibly find someone worse. And they found like the only dude worse than
New York's
her.
going to take the beer. They're going to have to.
That's true. Maybe I should shut the fuck up because I'm in the New York City area,
Oh,
so
no,
I might be
forgot,
living in
yeah.
dark times soon.
Yeah, you're going to.
You're gonna, I'm gonna come in.
Don't worry. Ohio is Ohio's full. Nobody wants to come here, so you're gonna have to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
You go to New
shit.
Jersey. I heard New Jersey's looking pretty red lately.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the move. One day I'll come into my office and just be like, "Oh, sorry, you can't be a lawyer anymore. We've confiscated your law degree, and we've given 1/10 of it to 10 different, migrants, so that they can all do a little bit of law. We're just
They're 10 paralegals now.
yeah, we're just trying to be fair. We're trying to redistribute your law degree. It is what it is.
It's like Dr. Shafako. They took each one. They take each one of your law books off the shelf.
Yeah. Rip the pages in parts and hand them out. Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna be fucked up. I'm hoping. Part of me hopes he loses, but he won't. He'll win.
You think so? You think nobody, like, even if everybody rallies around Cuomo, it's not gonna work?
I think there's got to be, for New York to come to its senses, I think there would have to be one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And right now it looks like it's going to be Adams and Cuomo.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them needs to drop out. Right? Because I don't think it's gonna work if you split the opposition. Mm-hmm. But maybe New York needs to be reminded how dumb socialism is. Maybe that's what has to happen periodically. You need a lesson.
No, I think that makes sense. And one of your guys saying North is Sean a mega guy. I mean, if he didn't keep collapsing on me, which is sometimes what people think for things, yes, very much so. Yes, I'm very much a mega guy.
Yeah,
yes,
Sean,
I believe that Donald Trump is the emperor of mankind and of our hearts. He is truly the yeah. But anyways, it keeps collapsing on me. But yes. Yes, I truly believe in the emperor of mankind. He is the emperor of our hearts as well.
Memes aside, North. I think Sean is a strong Trump supporter, but also somebody who's willing to admit when Trump does something that's legally incorrect or needs to be corrected. And I think that there's a level of sanity that we can all have around political conversations.
Yes, there's a lot of things I like, but I mean, like, I'll say it first of all, his first semester was garbage, and then. Actually, I'm kind of curious to know if you've talked about this yet. That thing down in speaking of him getting people to make arguments defending people, what do you think about that TDA boat, that Go Fast boat that got, apparently hit with a laser beam and just.
I mean, I don't know if this is me just being callous or whatever, but at a certain point, like during the Obama administration, I was somebody who was like, hey, are we comfortable with this drone strike power? This seems like a pretty serious power to give the president that he can just zap people out of existence in anywhere in the world he wants, whenever he wants. Yeah. And the what I was told was, like you designate them terrorists and there's a process and then they're gone. And that seems to be allowed now. So look, the TDA is a terrorist organization. It's designated. It's not.
And no, that's another thing, though. Now people are like, well, so those poor guys, like, now Trump has got these guys saying, oh, you're defending narco terrorists. It's like, yes, like it's kind of like the Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi thing where they had to call him the austere scholar. It's like they hate Trump so much, they're willing to let these drug dealers drag their nuts across their face. That way, like, Trump doesn't get a win. And
and he knows it, and I think that the left plays into that. But at the same time, I think like if you look at like the future of the right, and let's be real, that's a very good point, Anderson.
Yeah, Anwar al-Awlaki, Well, why is he a terrorist? Well, I mean, he probably was. I mean, like, there's a lot of evidence to convince that. But I'm also not necessarily believing the CIA is the best judge of character on all this.
Well, and the question you should always ask yourself as a limited government enjoyer is this a power I would like the other side to have? Because it's not always your turn. It's all somebody gets to use the toys too. And if that's allowed, then it's allowed, right? And we know it's allowed. And we saw Obama do it.
Yeah, and if I can drone strike you, then I can send SEALs Team 6 in to kill somebody. I mean, if I was D. John Sauer at that argument, well, could the president order SEAL Team 6 to kill somebody? I'm like, why not? I could drone strike him if I want.
Yeah, I mean,
all I have to say is he's a bad guy.
Well, the difference is, obviously now we're talking about criminal prosecution, which is
I know that, but I'm just saying the idea is like, well, why? If I could send, like, yeah, I could just drone strike whoever the fuck I want anyway. And I think that's the argument that should have just been done, because if he could drone strike a U.S. citizen without any due process, like, what's to stop him from going out to JSOC one night to A Squadron and Delta Force, be like, here's a list. I want to see red lines for each name before the sun comes up. Have a good one, boys. And send him out. It's like, well, he could drone strike. He could just have a Predator drone flying over DC, just fucking JDAM. And like, well, they were terrorists.
Well, the argument is that criminal law would serve as a deterrent to that sort of thing, and I don't think it does. To be totally honest with you, like if you have a rogue president who's using the military for truly rogue things, the coup's going to happen or it's not. And if the coup's successful, the courts aren't going to get you out of it. So, the real deterrent actually is the military code of conduct and a bunch of other things in that instance. But the thing about the immunity case, I always tell people, is that like the immunity case was actually didn't decide any of that. Like if you read the majority opinion, they don't say a word about the use of the military, because the use of the military was not a thing they had to decide. No, so these are all hypothetical questions that weren't before the court, and what the court would. I mean, I have theories about how the court would react, and gun to my head, if let's say you had a rogue president and they bombed Manhattan. And then they defected to Russia and they said, I was a Putin agent all along. Yeah. And now they're living like a fucking oligarch. And then they take a vacation and they get extradited and we put them on trial. Do you really think that they're going to be immune? Like, obviously they're not. Like,
the Supreme Court's not going to be like, sorry.
Like, obviously there are going to be developments in the doctrine at that point, and I could try to predict what they are, but it's a little nerdy. That would allow for that prosecution. So, really, I think the immunity thing was overblown. I think that what people should be focusing on is, 2028's coming. Trump's not going to be there forever, and like, be honest, his health doesn't look that good anyway.
No, so it's kind of catching up to him, but he's also not going to. Even if he was healthy, he's not sticking around. He's not being interdimensional triple Hitler.
No, he's not on the ballot. So what does the future of the Republican Party look like?
I will tell you today, from watching J.D. Vance do the Charlie Kirk show, I'll tell you this much, man. He was my senator, and I actually got to meet him at an event prior to 2024, and I was very impressed with him. But I will tell you, after today running the Charlie Kirk show, I was, he is the nominee.
Oh,
I mean, it was already going to happen, but he did it up today. He solidified that at 100%.
I didn't see the speech. I probably should watch that.
Well, he didn't have a speech. He ran the show and was like, people talking about Charlie Kirk and like, the influence he had on all these different people and things that were there. But yeah, it's like 2 hours long too. But really the last part of it where JD Vance is talking and everybody on the left's running around with their hair on fire right now. I can tell you, man, people I've been talking to, it's he will be the man.
Do you think that because I agree with you, in the last, because, like I don't know if we talked about this, but like I was basically in the position where I was like, I am really uncomfortable with the false slate of electors thing that Trump did, and as a result, even though I favored him, I probably wasn't going to be able to vote for him, and ended up not. And then I was saying, well, is there anything that Harris or Trump could do in the last week that would change my mind? So I was really interested in the long form interviews they did on Rogan and Theo Vaughn, right? Trump and JD Vance, because I was looking for something to kind of like push me one way or the other. And JD Vance in a long format where he can talk for, he was the best communicator by far. It wasn't close. So I think he's going to be a monster politically for years to come. But I wonder if the left is going to do, like, are they going to run the same playbook? Are they going to say like, well, Trump was Hitler, but JD Vance is Mecha Hitler?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, because I remember the MoveOn.org ad of Bush turning into Hitler. And it's like Bush was Hitler. And then Cheney was Hitler. And then John McCain was Hitler. And then Mitt Romney was Hitler. And it's like, well, how many guys can be Hitler at this point?
Yeah. And then what was really funny, because before it was revealed that he was not at all a political talent who could compete on the national stage, I was a Ron DeSantis guy. Yeah. Because I was like, there's a lot of, he's a little bit of like a law policy wonk type.
Yeah. And
I was like, holy shit, he's going to get shit done. He knows how to operate. Like, and by the way, that's true. He knows how to operate the systems of government. Like if you install Ron in a government, it will fucking work. He will get shit done.
Oh, I would totally vote for a Vance DeSantis. Like that'd be
so that was my guy. And I was, starting to warm up to him and starting to talk about him. And people were saying like, don't you know that Ron DeSantis is even worse than Trump? And I was like, holy shit. It's like, it seems like everybody's worse than Trump. That's a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah. No, it's just, well, this guy's even worse now. It's like, but I thought he was the worst. Like how much more worse can it get?
Yeah. And I mean, I guess we're just going to run out of hyperbole, because we're already in this weird Twilight universe where people will say, if I call you evil and a fascist, that doesn't mean that I really think you're an evil fascist who needs to be forcibly removed from power. I'm just saying evil fascist kind of ironically, but like, how do you up the ante from there? Like, what's left? You've run out of rhetorical room.
No. And it's, and I don't know where they go. I don't know where they go at that point. But I mean, it's all boring. It's like, yeah, and this is the other part of it too. It's like, yeah, he's Hitler and he's fascist and yeah, he's gonna kill everybody. Blah 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 blah. Like, yes, we know the thing now. We know the thing now. Like we understand. Yes, okay, I get it.
But I'd love to have a Republican Party because here's the thing, like as a lawyer and as an originalist, it's going to be really hard for me to vote left in the future because I've seen what they do when they get a nominee. Like Justice Jackson, when the last time I was on stream, we were going over some of her her odious work. She has written some of the worst opinions I've ever seen. It's crazy.
It's only got worse since we talked.
Yeah. So it's going to be really hard for me not to become a single issue voter on that. So the question then is like, well, what does the right look like? Because, there's a whole basket of policy and a lot of it's kind of Trump specific. I don't know that all this stuff is the same after he's out of the picture.
Oh, I agree. Like the way he's done all of this, it's not going to, it won't be the same. I mean, his imprint will be there, and he'll be able to sit there and blast out on True Social or Twitter something, and I'm sure JD Vance will take heed of what the emperor says from his golden throne, but he's still gonna go his own way, and it's gonna be clearly different.
Yeah,
and I mean, I wonder what it would be, and like a Vance DeSantis presidency would be pretty interesting. What they do,
it would be very interesting, and I don't think that Trump has a few political superpowers. One of them is he got a segment of the right that never votes to vote. Right. I don't know if that stays when he's off the ticket, which means the right might need to find a different way to compete, either to get those people to keep voting or and I think both of these avenues are open, by the way. Like you could get the right base to coalesce and keep voting, or you could make a play for moderates who were unwilling to vote for Trump for whatever reason, because he's no longer on the ticket, and the left does so much batshit crazy stuff that I think there's going to be gains to be made in like independence.
Oh, I think so. I think so, and Yeah, I mean, because there and the amount of people in 2020 are like, I just didn't like Trump. And then you talk to them a year or two later and they're just like, they're so mad about Biden. I'm like, don't you sound like a fucking idiot now? Like you wanted to own Trump so bad you let Biden win. Like, wow, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant strat.
Yeah. Your chat's right, by the way, that Rubio is the other name that should be taken into consideration.
Yes.
Because the man is single-handedly running the government, apparently. Like he's the head of every department. So
yes, that's true. He's also doing really good with the foreign, like the foreign policy. He's actually gotten, like, the past 3 months has changed so much. I mean, like, I mean, like, it's not the best ever, but it's getting there.
Yeah, I think that he's been tremendously competent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's going to be the fight, right? And Rubio might edge out DeSantis.
I can handle that. I mean, he's not little Marco anymore.
No, he's not. He's not. And DeSantis, for all the Jesus Christ,
that would be very based. That would be so based.
Was this story based? Yes.
Very based.
For all the the fact that I was a DeSantis guy, when Trump called him Meatball Ron, he was right. That dude stands on the debate stage and kind of wanders around with a weird smile on his face. I don't.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yes. Yeah. No. I yeah. So, I just it'll be interesting because I wonder what's the left going to do.
That's a great question, and I think that's a really important thing for us to learn, because if they bring in, God, I don't know, like if they bring in Newsom, that's scary.
Well, there's Newsom, but I mean, like, I think there's this new guy in Texas, Tallarico. I don't know if you've heard of him, James. He's kind of like their new version of Beto,
Really,
except he's like actually Hispanic-ish. It seems like, and it's like that's their new option, because it's not going to be any like Buttigieg. All these guys, they're all burnt. Like they're all spent. You can't use those guys anymore. I don't know what they're going to use going forward.
Yeah, what's even their option? I think I mean, Newsom, like he was clever. Like the Trump mocking thing actually did get him some heat on the left for sure. He was getting popular, but I think he's too California. Like he just, people don't outside of California. I don't think they like him, and he's a bit of a lizard. So I don't think it can be him.
Well, it also just doesn't help. It's like your state's a fucking mess. Like you're sitting here making jokes, and your fucking state's burning down. Like. Nobody could, all these people in Adam Carolla was right. Those people in Pacific Palisades got told to fuck themselves. You can't build a house no more. Like all this stuff is Andy Bashar's a threat. Yeah, I guess. But he isn't running around grabbing the spotlight, I don't think.
Hey, Sean, can you kill my camera for 1 second? I got a technical issue.
All right. Get the fuck out of here, Ryan. All right, guys, real quick, we'll get into some super chats here. So I apologize, guys. Ryan and I are talking, so I'm sorry if you send a super chat and you're like, "God damn it, fat man!" We were going. I'm sorry. Tech Guy South says, "Where do we go from here?" Is Jimmy John's. I mean, yeah. I mean, why not? Why not? Popcorn Power. Good to see you. Saying all we need is for Sean to give the left a strong word lecture, and everything will be right as rain again. Yes. All right. Debbie O with 10 subs. Let's go. Then EDW Raptor, good to see you tonight, with 10 more subs. I'm trying to get to these all right here. Amateur Iconoclast with a sub. Just singling out one by one, chat, making chat green again. SB Sellers with 10 subs. Just that guys, if that's not worthy of some woos, I don't know. Remember, chat, when you guys get the greens going, it's what you're doing to the grays every time. We are making America green again, chat, and we are praying that gray away. We are getting rid of it. We are doing our part. We are doing our part. Are you doing your part? Something to think about here. And then EDW Raptor for $5 for a good suspender snap. Fine. There you go. Demon's Wraith says, today is International Day of Democracy for what it's worth. Well, I guess. And then Bio1 says, right-wing death squads, of course. Glow posting, I don't know. This isn't the time for ironic posting for real. Yeah, that's one way to word it. Chugi Show says for $1.99, where are we going from here? Well, we keep going. And I think that's pretty, yeah, we keep going. I think that's what we have to do for now. Another for $5 says, hold on to your Clyde coin. You never sell your Clyde coin. It's going to the moon. It's going to the moon. You can't get rid of it. You'd be a fool. Iron hands, chat. Iron hands. And EDWR says, Destiny's proving how much a piece of shit he really is. Well, I mean, when your life completely crashes and burns, I guess you may as well go for broke. You know, because if you start digging to China, you know what happens? You pop out on the other side. So it kind of works at the end. And John Coleman for $5 says, Sean is selling us Patriot Supply. What next? His own cafefe. Those guys actually emailed me once, and like their deal was like not very good, so I didn't accept it. To be, they're like, what's my cut? And they're like, not really anything. And I was like, I'll pass. I broke out the suspenders for Ryan. Of course, we have a guest. I should break out the fine china. Sheriff Fuck saying Charlie and Chank seem to become friends in recent years. Well, I just think they've learned to, just you deal with somebody enough, you develop a rapport with them. And then Stabby, I'm gonna stop here for now, guys. It's a member for 27 months. That's such a long time. Says, where is your enough is enough limit, Sean? Well, like I said, if it's right now, then if you're gonna do that, if you want to step off, if you want to jump ball, you better it's like Pokemon time. You better catch them all and you better win. Like, I mean, if that's the game we're playing, if it's go time, then that's what you're telling me. And you're like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. I'm like, well, then it's not go time. It's not go time. Ryan's probably sitting there back there like, holy shit, he's fucking insane. And then Hella, real quick, for 21 months. Thank you, Hella. Could Ryan please say Scalia's dissent? Ryan, you're muted.
Well, no. So now I can't say Scalia's dissent, and you missed it because I was muted.
Oh, no.
But 21 months. Yes, Scalia's dissent.
There you go.
Famous.
Right. All right. So we're all. Hold on. I'm gonna save. Here, we'll get back to that one. All right. So, Kino Casino is gayer than Clyde. What? I don't know. That would be rough on Clyde. He's such a little dog. That would not be fun for him. By the way, Clyde was the name of the dog I had.
Oh yeah, I got that.
Okay,
Chat is its own beast. It's
yes, it is.
It
is.
Oh man.
So Nomeo says, Ryan just called me the N-word on Discord. Well, you probably deserved it.
That was my technical difficulty. I had to break stream for a second.
You just needed a minute just to
go drop a hard R on like one of your chatters in Discord. Yeah, just
yes. Well, hey, you know what? They deserve it over there. Somebody has to. They only understand the boot heel. So, but no, I don't know, Ryan. I mean, like, I mean, like, I know when we had talked we were starting to talk last week about the whole Tim Kaine thing, and I was like, well, that sounds like that'll be fun. And then like this happens. It's like, well, I guess this is a very pressing matter.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like life comes at you fast.
Yeah.
And the Tim Kaine thing I thought was a big deal, but then this happened. And obviously, like no one's gonna want to fucking talk about that right now.
Yeah.
I do think, like, I hear you. Like, when you say like if it's time to jump off, it's time to jump off. I get the energy because you just saw a man shot. Like, I mean, that it's hard not to think that something bad might happen right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'll urge the same thing I urge to everyone I talk to these days. It's just like stay sane, keep your head on a swivel. Like there's going to be some real fucking bad actors trying to convince you to do something crazy in the next couple weeks, and that doesn't mean that something won't happen that actually does deserve your righteous anger. But at the same, you just got to be cautious and you got to take it slow because tensions right now are crazy.
Don't get buffalo jumped. That I keep telling chat that, and I don't know if you know what that term is. That's where the Indians would like stampede the buffalo off a cliff, and then they just walk down and pick up the carcasses, and hey, well, that was easy. Don't let these people stamp, like, and I say this every time, like, make sure if you're doing something, you're doing it because you want to do it or you feel you need to do it. If you're not sure why you're doing it, you need to slow down and make sure you know why.
Mm-hmm.
And that time allows you a chance to go chill out and say, okay, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And
I love the post about like, what would Charlie want you to do? And like, Charlie would want you to go out there and talk to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, ask him, be like, what's one thing Trump does you like? Tell me one thing Trump does that you like, and I'll tell you one thing Trump does that I hate. And like, I'm sure we don't have to agree, but we can at least like have a conversation, like, I think Charlie would be into that.
Yeah. And I mean, and it turns out like the Muslim guys who planted the bomb underneath like the news van, it's like, more and more stuff just happened. Like, but that seemed to be like, nobody's really talking about that one, which is kind of interesting. That like, there's just, this stuff is quiet. And, it's like the school shooting in Denver, like nobody's talked about that. That happened like the same day, I guess. And it's like, it's funny. People left like, you didn't talk about this. I'm like, I didn't know that happened. Like, I'm sorry. That was like, that's like asking me about what happened on the Adopt a Dog segment at South Bend on Friday morning for the Fox affiliate. Like, nobody saw it. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, we live in an attention economy. The country's so big, something terrible happens somewhere in the country every day, and somehow we decide what to care about every day, and that's tricky.
Yeah. Well, but that's also, it's like, if the news isn't covering it, it really is hard to know what happens. And that just, school shooting, boring. That happens all the time. Instead, we're going to a guy he got shot at a school. So it's like, but this one's different.
Yeah. I mean, and this one is different. I don't know. Like, when I talk to people like my family or friends who like lean left, they kind of, I don't know. I think they bought into this like kind of far right label where they'll be like, Charlie Kirk was a far right agitator. And I was like, he introduced the president and the vice president. Like, I mean, he's not like a fringe figure. Like
I mean, like, like, trust me, like if you think he's far right, then, oh my God, like, talk to people really on the right. Like, a lot of people for a long time thought Charlie Kirk was just a cock. And they did, they agreed with the memes of like, we'll make Charlie Kirk's face smaller with every click. Like, a lot of people on the right for a while thought that was hilarious. And when Nick Fuentes and his grapers were fucking with him, we thought that was great, like jerking him around about his love for Israel. And it's like, a lot of us thought that was hilarious. So like the idea that we were, Charlie Kirk was far right. It's like, I don't think you know what you think that means.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And I think also like, I can't really think of a comparable, right? Like maybe I just haven't lived long enough. Like, what was a right-leaning political organizer, not a politician, but a political organizer who gets assassinated? Like, I can't think of one.
Yeah. Jesus loves you. I haven't gotten everything yet. I'll get to you, buddy. I have a guest and we're talking, and Ryan doesn't want to hear me read super chats and talk about more sobs. Like,
but I want to see you get that money, Sean. I want to see you make it rain.
Thanks. Well, if you want to see it make it rain, Rob makes it rain. I'll tell you that much. But no, like, I mean, the closest thing to like Charlie Kirk is Rush Limbaugh. The closest thing but there, the thing is, there is nobody like. Those two guys are so unique. There's nobody even on the left that could be considered close to them. Like, those are once in generation people. And it's like, I don't know where else you could find it. Like, it's not Milo.
Oh my God. It's
but like
definitely not Milo. Jesus.
It's like, but I'm just saying, like, when you think about people on the left, it's like, is Cenk? No, and I'm not talking shit about Cenk. It just is what it is. But like Cenk, Anna Kasparian, no. Hassan, really? No. I mean, at the end of the day, like when the rubber meets the road, he'll collapse. I'm surprised he hasn't started screaming "suck my dick" yet again, because that was his big thing for a while. But like, you just think about these people, like even Destiny, like none of them, like Charlie Kirk was Breitbart is like the close. Well, a lot of people think not. Well, they're the theories out there about what happened to Breitbart. A little sus how he did pass away, but like, Breitbart, Charlie Kirk, and Rush Limbaugh, like those guys are all in the same rarefied air. At least in my view.
And
Sam Cedar's not even close. Most people don't know who the fuck Sam Cedar is.
No, he's not.
Unless you're politically active, you don't know who he is.
And I think the right has a particular affection for these figures because they almost had to build the infrastructure. In fact, they did have to build the infrastructure from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think about like who are the big left-leaning disseminators of information and ideas, you're going to talk about people in traditional media mainly, right? Like you're going to like Stephen Colbert, right? You're going to be talking about like that sort of person. But the right the right had to build it. The Joe Rogan until the left chased him away. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Well, but the thing was, Joe Rogan really wasn't on the left either, though. I mean, he was just talking. He was just minding his own business, talking about UFOs and Göbekli Tepe and DMT and floating chambers and all that and UFC, and they got really fucking mad at him.
Well, and the thing about Joe is that he was kind of like a Bernie Sanders guy. And then shit got very real as he got bigger and bigger, and he started talking to more and more people. And this happened to me in law school, man. Like I was very, very left most of my life, and I lived in kind of this bubble where I never heard, not like the crazy version, but the intellectually sound version of right thinking. Like I never, so for me, I read Scalia, and here we go, Scalia's Dissent. I read Scalia in Obergefell, and it's like, holy shit, this blew my mind. Like there's a version of this that's intensely intellectually satisfying and actually has some meat on the bones. And it felt special because it was hidden from me. No one would show it to me when I was younger. You had to earn it for yourself. And once that happens, things change. I think Joe had some conversations with Jordan Peterson and was never the same.
Yeah, well, it's sad because Jordan Peterson used to be until he kind of disintegrated. But yes. Wash your penis.
That's a fun homework assignment for chat. Watch old Jordan Peterson clips and then watch new Jordan Peterson clips and just see the difference.
Well, I think the neat thing about Jordan Peterson is he had all his all his lectures online. And I remember watching those and I was like, this is pretty good. But now he's just, sits there and cries every 5 minutes. And I'm like, wow, man, getting hooked on benzos really fucked your life up.
Yeah.
That's a warning to you, chat. Don't get hooked on benzos.
It's also a warning just to know your competencies. Don't get hooked on benzos, but also when he's talking about psychology and mythology and all these, he has a lot of interesting insights. But then sometimes he jumps the shark and he starts talking about something else, and you're like, oh, I don't know. I think you might be making that up. I don't know. I don't know if this is your area of scholarship.
I'm like, buddy, you're a Canadian guy. Just stay over here. Talk about my shadow. That's
gonna really make me feel better. But I love those lectures. When my first child was born, I had to, she was early, so I had to stay up with her all night. And I watched the entire lecture series because I was like, I want to do something that makes me feel smart because I'm spending all my time on baby stuff.
Radio Plains Watch. What mind altering drugs can we do without fucking up our life? I don't really know. I don't think there's an answer there.
They seem to all have some downsides.
Take a gummy, inedible. I've done a couple of those once in a while, and you feel like if you do them right, you're just laying there and you feel like you're floating through the floor, a little bit. That's good enough for me. Don't go I don't need ayahuasca where I feel like I'm touching the crystal skulls and shit. Like I'm good without that. I'm good without that. Learn to meditate a little bit.
I met a dude once who was trying to like sell me on ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And his pitch was, and this is a grown ass man. This guy was like fucking in his 50s. And he was saying, when I took, he took ayahuasca the week before and he finally like unpacked his mommy issues. And I was like, dude, you're 50. You have mommy issues? Like, I feel like this feels a little bit like a hippie thing. I don't need to get into. I think maybe you have your own shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's some things that like Joe Rogan has talked about, like doing the float where you float in the thing and you're kind of like in the saltwater float. Like some of that stuff is pretty neat. But like, yeah, doing DMT and like doing ayahuasca, I'm like, it's like people are like, would you ever try acid? I'm like, no, because it sounds like either it could go really well or I'm sitting there carving my face with a piece of broken glass and I don't realize it. Like, I don't, like, given those are like, feels like those are the two outcomes. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to go do that stuff.
It sounds like a lot.
It does.
Hey, Sean, with apologies, man, it's getting a little bit later. I'm probably going to have to bounce.
Sure.
Not a hard stop, but I just letting you know.
Yeah,
that
no.
Start easing out.
Yeah, real quick, guys. Ryan C. Mullally here on YouTube, guys. Show him some love. He's got get him some subs. Let's get this going. This man needs to get monetized. He needs to get the grift.
I would appreciate it. I mean, think about all the things you could say to me in a super chat that would just piss me off.
Yes.
If I were monetized. Think about how you could ruin my life.
Yes, guys, get him. He wants to quit being a lawyer. He wants to stream all day. He's going to be like Destiny. He wants to play Factorium all the time.
Yeah, I want to play autistic games and have hot takes. Is that so much to ask?
You pussy, stick it under your tongue. No, I'm not doing acid. Is Speaker Johnson going to discipline Ilhan Omar for her statements? Nah.
No. Nope.
Yeah. Oh, and somebody's like, Factorio. I'm sorry. I misunderstood your game. So
how about this? I'll make the bold promise now. Somebody drops 100 subs, Sean will play Factorio on stream for you. I'm speaking for him. This is your moment. Get that grift going.
I mean, sure. I was going to play Gunner Heat PC for the first game, but I guess we'll play Factorio.
Hey,
let's make it happen, chat.
Hold him to it. Make him pay you for it.
Jesus. Oh God, I don't know. That's gonna be bad. You can't tempt. These people are. This chat is. You got to be careful how you tempt them. It's tempting the fates. They love. It's like the Greek. Do you ever read the Greek plays?
Yeah.
The Greek classics. The fates love nothing more than making you eat your own balls. So they love nothing more than that here. This is a hell. This is a hell you're building for yourself.
Yeah.
This office you're in, you're going to be like, oh, it's just an office. No, it's a hell you're building. And right now I'm sitting in a hell I've built for myself. So.
Full of angry chatters throwing money at you to tell you to play Factorio. Yes. Sorry, buddy. It's a tough
chat.
life.
We got to keep, I'm going to pull a dark side Phil though. We need to keep having support. If we don't have enough support, it's only a one and done. You know what dark side Phil is?
No.
Oh, okay. You're better off not.
I'll try not to learn.
Yeah, you're better off. Amateur iconoclast says, my life is disrupted to go fight in the Civil War. People are going to pay.
Fair.
Yeah. If you make me do this, I'm going to kill you. It's like, that's kind of the point. Unhung Hero for 20 subs. There you go. It's the only time we've ever got him on camera doing that, and it was not intentional. So, Philip Kogan says Biden and Harris were both campaigning on not taking or trusting the Trump vaccine, and then tried to force everyone to take the Trump vaccine Trump created. Yeah, it was kind of funny how that worked out. At the end of the day.
It's like politicians lie or something.
Yeah, I know.
That's weird.
Yeah. It's like, do you think it's like the meme? Do you think really people would do that? Lie on the internet? John Coleman says, read Jan Kosik. How Czechoslovakia went is exactly what these people are trying to do to us. Jesus loves you for $10 says, Sean, it's fake sympathy. It's too late for reconciliation. We've been watching the decline for decades. The left wants us dead over a mere ideology, and the right can't allow this threat to persist. I understand your point, and I understand where you're coming from, but like I said, I don't think we're there yet.
And really think about what the prescription there is. Like, civil war sucks.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think that we're still at the point where we could find a coalition that could solve this problem in the ballot box.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's really what we're talking about. Like, how do we get, how do we make sure that that's what we're doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have hope. And, that's part of my faith that we will figure this out. Like I said, I think that God put us here in this place, this unique place that's isolated from the world for a reason. I really do think that this was an exceptional place that, was created and set aside. And this is what he wanted to happen. Not Charlie Kirk getting killed, but like America is what he wanted to happen. And he set it in motion. Like, I really do think it's that. And I don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
At some point you might, but I don't want to yet.
Like, again, like I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but when I talk about natural law and the founding documents, what that meant to the founders is that there's a way that humans ought to live, to have freedom, to have liberty, to have life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all those good things. And that's God's plan. And then they created a system of government that would allow us to figure that out. That's what America is supposed to be.
It's
doing.
our birthright.
It's our birthright. It's exactly right. It's our birthright. And we should take that seriously. We should protect that. And we should, as best we can, make our system of government line up so it actually operates the way it's supposed to. And we can go through that process together instead of having, like ideological tug of war where 51% of the House gets to dictate how the entire country lives. It's just not what we're supposed to be doing.
No, I agree. Very, very correct. Very correct. Killbilly 123 says it's time, and Sean knows it's time. It's not, like I said, guys. You'll know it's like, if you think it's go time, if you walk out the door and your neighbors aren't standing there ready to go, it's not time. Like I said, you'll know it's time when it's time, if it ever becomes time. It's now not time.
Yeah.
I'm betting your neighbors, well, it's getting late, but I doubt your neighbors are going to be standing on your porch. So go grab your gun and go stand on your porch. It's dark outside, so nobody's going to see you look like a doofus. And you'll be like, oh, wait, I don't see my neighbors. And come back inside and sit down. Like I said, you'll know when it's time. Mega Bobass for $19.99 says it's to Sean's problem is staying. I'm a Lutheran. You can't. We all can't be Catholic. It's okay. Although basically you are Catholic. The one true faith. Honestly, I'm not here to lecture on what faith or deity you should follow. I'm just glad to see that more Americans are turning back to God. It's a start. Yeah. Spiritual development and, just internal, it's never a bad time. It's never a bad thing. Skinny says, can you bow hunt furries? All I have is a bow. I mean,
check your local laws.
Yeah. Be very careful if you do it. Like, don't go around, set up a Discord talking about hunting furries.
That's sound legal advice. I'm gonna end all my client memos with that going forward. Here's how you solve your tax problem. And I think if you structure the deal this way, you're going to make a lot of money. And also, if you were thinking of bow hunting furries, don't put that in writing.
Also, don't use Discord. Don't use Discord. Uncivil Law, a friend of the channel, Kurt. I need to get you. And Kurt together. I think that'd be a great show.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'm very down.
Kurt says we're going to war, baby. Well, like I said, I hope not. Stug or Stug for $2 saying Destiny is unhinged as a shot demonstration. If it keeps on wiggling, it's gonna fall off.
Yeah, that might be the chemical enhancements he uses to get geared up for the stream.
Yeah. No, I agree. Brandon Lesko for 19 months. Thank you, Brandon, for being here. It says Sean wears women's athletic wear. I mean, why not? It gives a lot of support.
That's so specific. Yeah. That's a good burn. That's well played.
Yes, it is. Like I said, they're good. They'll get good. You'll get your own. They're gonna get good with you. PS2 chipper for 5 subs. And oh my God, I just saw there are like, oh Jesus Christ, they did it. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to download this cable.
Did I rope you into Factorio?
Yeah. Now I'm going to have to like get a capture card and everything.
Oh my God,
thank you guys for your support, your generosity there. I appreciate it. If you guys got a membership, please tell them thank you. And guys, we try to do members only stuff for you. Every Wednesday. This Wednesday we're gonna hang out and do some members only stuff. It's just all kinds of goofy shit we don't normally do on a normal show. So hang out with us. Kathy, your realtor living in New Jersey. Remember, guys, New Jersey, not the Channel Island of Jersey. But if you're looking to buy, sell, lease, do whatever in New Jersey, Kathy is your realtor. Find her out there. And Kathy says, Sean, the show has some profound nuggets. Well, I get good guests that can do that. When you share your knowledge, perspective of history, it's always worth a listen, maybe a re-listen. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I try. There's a lot of garbage that's crammed in here, and sometimes it comes out importantly.
We try to fit it in between the memes.
Yeah. Well, it's my best friend. He's like, we used to like in college go to like the trivia nights. They had a beat ups in town at Bowling Green. And he's like there were times where you'd go and they'd be like, okay, I'm not like, you'd walk in there and they'd look at you like, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to play tonight. I'm just going to sit here because you can't be that guy. And when I first, in the middle of COVID, the lovely future Mrs. Martin 2.0 and I went to a restaurant and they were doing trivia night. And it was just me and her sitting at a table, and we're playing trivia, and it's me, and I'm just like, I tell her, go walk up and give that to him. And it's like there's like tables full of people, and they're working on shit, and I'm like, and they're just looking at me, and I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna get mad. So like, I took my phone and I put it in her purse, and I'm like, I don't even want to be near this thing, but it's like, sometimes it's fun, but the amount of useless shit I know, if only I put useful stuff in there.
You know what they call lawyers? We're attack librarians.
Yes.
We just collect useless information and then weaponize it.
I haven't heard that before, but I love that.
Yeah.
January 6, 2.0 for $5 says, even if the founders wanted to free their slaves, they could. The slaves were bought with debt and the banks owned the slaves. Oh, you're saying they couldn't? I mean, well, at some point the bank wouldn't have owned the slaves because eventually they would have gotten out from underneath it, I guess.
Go ahead.
Thank you for getting a little memey there too. Henrik, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. Says, never doubt the courage of the French. They were the ones who discovered that snails were edible. I still haven't done that, but I want to at some point eat escargot. Just to say I tried it.
Yeah, you know what? It's not as bad as you fear, but like honestly, what they seem to be doing is just covering it in garlic and butter. And then they're almost playing a game where it's like, how bad could anything covered in garlic and butter be? And the answer is almost anything tastes good if you have that much garlic and butter.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway.
Yeah, well, I mean, and honestly though, I mean that's the I love watching people like Gordon Ramsay, but I like Marco Pierre White more because he's a French chef. And he's just like butter. It's like Paula Deen, except without Paula Deen. Just more butter, more butter, more butter, more butter.
Oh God, yeah.
During the saying, oysters without a fishy taste. Well, I'm not a big fan of oysters, so.
No, but he's dead right though. It's oysters. It's like the oyster texture, but instead of tasting like the sea, they taste like dirt. And like I'm not selling it because I don't love it, but that's kind of the vibe.
Well, you're not selling it. That's not making me feel better. John Coleman for $5 says it's time to be bonobos and solve our conflicts through love. Look at Nick and Destiny. Oh God, I know what I get that. No.
I feel like escargot might be a new chat goal. I don't know. Just throwing it.
No,
out.
then now we're turning into Dark Side Phil. We're not doing that. We're not doing it. We're not doing potentially criminal tries it. Chat, I'm not doing that. If you send anything in, it's not counting. You're gonna have to suffer. You're giving away free money.
Oh, it was so successful the first time. I was just seeing if I could sneak it in there.
Said Anna did go after Destiny. I understand she did, but while he's sitting there just going crazy, Anna's just like, "Oh my God, what the fuck are you?" I think Anna's just sitting there like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because she's like, "You're killing the brand."
Well, no, I mean, absolutely. She was sitting there going like, no one could be so selfish as to do what you're doing right now, because you, at least my read, you are clearly doing this for clicks. And anyone who hears this is like, imagine if you were like an independent and you're like, let me tune in and see what's happening in politics today. And you, and that's the representative for Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, like, I mean, the right's strongest soldier at a certain point.
Yes. No, he's our MVP. He's our MVP. We're going to like, we need to keep him going. We need to keep him going. That's why I'm going to help like join his legal team so he can beat Pixie. Like, look, I'm like, they're like, why are you helping him, Sean? It's like, we need him to win. Look, you know, we need to keep Hitler in power because he's ruining the war faster. He's going to lose it faster than if Hitler's gone.
This is a great insight about how lawyers actually function, by the way, because we'll joke about that, but you actually can hire us to have different opinions. So if you really want us to have a different opinion, you just have to pay more.
Yeah.
You know,
Destiny
it is what it
pays
is.
me. I'll come in there and be like, Pixie's a whore. She's a liar.
You know, there's no hard drive. Come on.
Yes.
Well, Sean, man, this has been great. And chat, I appreciate all the subs I got during this. Really, it means a lot to me. And let's do it again sometime. Always a pleasure.
Ryan. We'll come over and have some fun. All right, guys. Ryan Mullally. Thanks, Ryan. Have a great night, man.
Have a good one, buddy.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, I'll help you get out. There you go. There we go. All right, chat. Ooh. Okay, so let's go. Brandon for $4.99 says, "Wish you could eat a Sammy in meat off in the Naval Observatory with Clyde licking mayo off of both your inner thighs." Sean, I guess I'm flattered at the idea you would like for me to live in the Naval Observatory because that means I'm vice president. Not so much about the whole Clyde licking mayo off my thighs part. But thank you, I guess. Bushmaster for 5 subs. Thank you for your support, your generosity. 10K View's been a member for 20 months. Says, will the Charlie Kirk moment be short-lived? No, I don't think so. I think this is one of those things that ain't going away for a while. And I think it's up to us to make sure it doesn't go away, that we keep on it. You know, remember the Alamo, remember Pearl Harbor, remember Charlie Kirk. Like it's up to us to make sure it doesn't become short-lived. That's how I'd say that. But thank you for 20 months, by the way. Thank you so much. Brimstone's been a member for 4 months. Thank you, Brimstone. So I keep Clyde coin in my prison wallet. Oh, you can keep that Clyde coin. You can't redeem that for money later, sir. Jesus Love You says, talking got Charlie killed and there's no more talking. I understand, but like I said, it's not yet time. Not yet time, chat. Oh my God. All right. Now we're getting to the part that's going to happen here. T-Rex at Crypto Travels for $4.99 says, hashtag never forget Antonin Scalia was also possibly taken out for political purposes. I understand. Yep. Along with Breitbart. Very sussy. Yes. The idea that he may have been killed in his sleep. Yeah. Yep. 100% possible. 100% possible. Amon Reza says, Jesus loves you, Mao. Well, if that's the case, thank you for the money, Mao. All right, now here we go. Actually, we'll get this one quick. T-Rex at Crypto Travels says, Destiny on Piers Morgan today made me want to throw my phone against the wall. Destiny is a problem. Yes, but here's the problem. It's hard to tell because joke's on you, he's only pretending to be retarded. Or is he a guy who's really watched his entire career light on fire and he's decided to just become a complete shitheel? It's hard to tell. Probably a little column A, a little column B. Remember, he's now the heel. So remember that too, to an extent. Okay. So EDW Raptor for 20 subs. Stephen Cooper for 20 subs. Amateur Iconoclast for 20 subs. EDW Raptor for 20 more subs. Jim Cox for 10 subs. And then EDW Raptor for 10 more subs. We got to 100, chat. Okay, I guess we're getting Factorio, and I'm gonna order one here. Hold on right now. Hold on. Okay, chat, being serious. If I just buy like one of these $30 or $40 capture cards, that will allow me to stream stuff for you guys, right? Yes or no? Well, he's also free bird time. Yes, it's gonna be free bird. It's on PC. You don't need a capture card. Yes, it does, because Steam does not work on this. Yeah, just buy the $31 one. Will be good enough. Okay. God bless the gold, chat. Can we hit it? Yes, we did, chat. We hit it like a drunk. We hit it like a stepmom in a trailer park. Oh. Why is Factorial console? It's a PC game. You shouldn't need anything more. Are you sure? Okay, I thought I need a capture card anyway. We're still going. Yes, we are. Stream from the other PC then. I don't have another PC. But yeah. Okay. Kurt is also a gamer. Streaming game with Kurt. I'll talk to Kurt. Maybe we can play Factorio together. But in the meantime, chat Shredder S 07 for 10 more subs. That's right, chat. There we go. Thank you, chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate all the help you did out there. Thank you so much. Oh, God. Amateur iconoclasts by pay. I mean, war crimes become war suggestions. Yes. It's only war crimes if you lose. Remember that too, chat. And then EDW Rapper for $5 says Factorio, Sean. Factorio for all these people. We'll do it. I'll figure it out. Say it's time to play Factorial, Fat Man, and let Ryan go make his some eggs. T-Rex and Crypto Travel says repeal the 17th Amendment. Not a bad idea. I still think it should be. State governments have no representation in the federal government. I agree they should not like that. Yep, and it should go back to the states. Crozon Ego Volt says escargot is delicious. Like I said, I give it a shot. Debbie O for $5. Thank you, Debbie. Saying oysters and snails do not have a similar texture. I like both. They are quite different. Well, so. Anderson Cooper says they struck Charlie down and he's become more powerful than you can ever imagine. 100%. EDW Raptor says do it like old school DSP and just film my gameplay. Yeah, that's it. Guess we're going to go back to 2015. Linda says, what should happen to Brian Kilmeade? I don't know. If Fox doesn't want it, they don't have to have it. But if they're going to tolerate him, then they tolerate him. You know, if society is going to tolerate it, then they'll tolerate it. If the customer base won't tolerate it, then they won't. I mean, that's kind of how this goes. I mean, that's, you know, you guys want to go after him. You guys want to scalp, go scalp hunting. I'm just saying, I can't, you know, that's for you guys to do. Also, chat, by the way, I got a grand. So I'm just going to get these. So fun playing with the clips and get them loaded up. Even if it's dummy ammo for right now. It's still fun. It's still fun. It's so fun. Although it's not like Robert Heinlein. Robert Heinlein used to have a Springfield 1903 in his office. And a reporter once asked him, why do you have that? And he says, you never know when you're going to have to start shooting Bolsheviks. And I was like, utterly fucking based by the OG of science fiction. So Let's see here. I think we're all caught up. We're all caught up, chat. Freebird is supposed to be playing. We don't hear it. Oh, I thought you guys could hear it. My bad. Okay, you guys are saying I don't need a capture card, so I don't know. I don't know. Let's see here. What did Brian Kilme do? I don't know. Whatever he did, then deal with it. I don't know. There's a reason everybody uses OBS, but StreamYard can do it. It's just weird to set up. Well, that's the thing. If I have to figure out how to use OBS, I guess I'll do that. Yes. Now let's do a Horace Wessel Line sub drive. That's it, chat. You know, for 100 subs, we'll do the Erica remix. Then we'll do the Grün ist unser Fallschirm remix. Oh, yes. Lord, I can't change. Three Bear says, yeah, you could do it via StreamYard. Okay, well, then you guys might need to show me how. Because I just don't know. People are posting, yeah, children acting happy at the thought of Trump or Elon dying in an attempt to make their mom proud. Yeah, that's all happening. Yes, the trap remix of Erica, of course. Of course we would. You know, maybe we'll do that instead of Freebird from now on. Erica Kirk? No, Erica, like Und das heißt Erica. Is Shad playing the song and not playing it on stream? Well, not right now, I'm not, but no, guys, we're talking about... I guess we'll just play it in the background now so you have it here. I guess I was playing it earlier and you guys didn't hear it. Let me see here. Let's see. Where is it? Where the heck is it? Hold on here. I'm trying to get a chat. No, it's not. I can't find it. Hold on here. No, it's not working. I can't find a... Hold on here. No, there's... I can't find it. It's gone. This is such a shame. Yeah, there's like... The trap remix is not like the remix. Hold on here. Okay, well, no, that's an ear rape one. We're not doing that one. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, I don't know, guys. So we'll have to find it. We'll do that for next time. Oh, who's messaging me? Okay. Oh, you want the drill version of Erica? Fine, we'll do that. I need my own Worski. The pre-outro outro. Okay. There we go, chat. We'll have something ready to go for subs. We'll do that. It's really not that great a song anyway. I mean, it is if it's the trap remix. Play the Death remix of Grün ist unser Fallschirm. Yeah. I don't read chat. I do read chat. Your mom don't read chat. So, anyways, guys, we are all caught up for tonight. It's already 11:30. So, we're gonna go back over to locals for a little bit. Not very long, but we have to work on putting the guns back together. I bought the Jimenez JA9, which is you're like, why did I buy a throwaway gun that's used by gangsters and cholos? Because it was like $50. And we're trying to figure out how to put it back together. And it's not working right now. I can't read chat. Yes, I can. And we're trying to figure it out. Okay, so here's my point. I tried doing this before, and stuff wasn't working through StreamYard. So that's what I thought I needed. So you can use capture cards as a video input. So yeah, I don't know. But anyways, chat, we're going over to potentiallycriminal.locals.com. We're going to have some fun over there. And guys, this is going to be one of those members only streams. You're going to have to pay for it. Get to pay up, brokies. Remember, guys, use some promo code summertime 2025. You can hang out for free. We are going to work on putting this fucker back together. And yeah, we'll see if I can do it without getting mad. But we'll do that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow there is some I know you guys don't give a shit about the Stuttering John thing, but literally I just like the way something just happened, and it's like he just waved the white flag. And I think it's worth covering real quick. Then we'll get into if we have some time, we'll get into Glock being sued by the city of Seattle for switchies, even though they don't make switchies. But we're gonna get to that. And like I said, guys, that Stuttering John thing is an example of really shitty lawyering. And I think it's something worth covering. So hopefully, God willing, there's no more insanity with this Charlie Kirk stuff, and we can all just relax for a day or two. Yeah. But once again, chat, don't doom. Don't doom. And have a bit of optimism. It'll do you good. It'll do you good. So steal it. Steal that optimism with some preparation. So does Clyde march around when I play Erica? Yes, just like Count Dankula's dog. So good night, chat, and I will see you tomorrow. And remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Well, if you're Destiny, you're guilty of being a fucking asshole. So I guess people are guilty of stuff there. So good night, chat, and I will see you guys over on Locals.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick hated yelled at? Why, yes it was. He even knows he's